experience coming into Athens, 3:30 kick. You can tell this weekend has been the most busy. It's only Friday by far for the entire season. So I expect a really loud crowd tomorrow in Sanford Stadium. So that's not going to be easy for Ashford.
And if you watch now, I'm going to just focus on the Auburn quarterback right now. This rivalry is, I'm real picky about the rivalries, right? Georgia has 3 rivalries.
Auburn, Tech, and Florida.
That's all. Do not come at me with Tennessee. Don't do the South Carolina thing. We forgot all that for a while. That didn't work out so hot. But look, hey, we're here today because of Peach State Light. It's very important that y'all try this. We're going to have some soon. Once here later, and have some bills I have to take.
I'm thirsty. So, yeah.
But, Georgia has got to play better, right? Step one. And we were both in Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen better. I've seen worse, too, which is what I learned after the Kent State game. I don't know where we're going here. What I mean by that is I can't tell if Georgia just is falling off a cliff, which I find hard to believe, or if this is a turn of the corner here and they've got something to prove against Auburn.
Well, it's 2 weeks in a row where you felt like they regressed both weeks as far compared to the first 3 games of the season. The first 3 games was, they played completely. I'm not saying it's 2 different Georgia teams. They just played differently. And then Kent State, the 17-point win for the way that Georgia played in that first half with all those turnovers was impressive to me. But you have to clean that up. I mean, over the course of 2 games, I think you're -5 in the turnover game there between.
Away 5,
yeah. So can't score if you don't have the ball. And that's been their problem the last 2 games. Red zone execution has been something I've been concerned with the last 2 games. It's good that you have DAWGSTRUCTION has fallen. So the last couple of games, Jack Podlesny has been extremely important. He's been on his mark, and you love that.
I have this later in
we will get to that. We will get to that a little bit in a more detailed fashion.
You don't want to rely on your place the whole season to save you. But I will say that if you've got some, I call it Jack. I call it after the Mizzou game in the closet that we were interviewing. We got to do better for Missouri.
The dungeon?
We got to do better for Missouri.
That was a dungeon.
I said Jack to Kirby, and he didn't know who I was talking about. He started calling Pod.
No. Well, apparently he's got all sorts of nicknames with the pod thing.
Yeah,
but
making 3-point field goals.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what
they need to score more in the red zone touchdowns.
Well, and that's the difference between the Carolina game, the Oregon game, and the Mizzou game. The Kent State game, to me, I thought they played fine. You just can't turn it over 3 times. And that's just not good enough. They scored every time they had the ball, with the exception of the turnovers.
They're 5th in yards, in total yards amassed per game in the country right now, around 521. They're getting there. They're just not capitalizing towards the end. I think Ohio State and Alabama are right up in front of them, along with a couple other teams. But they're outplaying every single team as far as in major stat categories and everything. They've just haven't been as detailed as they were last year. Missing little details, at least the last couple of games, but they play better in the second halves, and that matters a lot. But the slow starts, a little concerning.
Well, I will say Kirby's teams typically play better in the second half. If you think about the Oklahoma game, if you think about the Auburn game in 17 in Atlanta, that was a better second half. If not just flying away from all the defenders. This program is built to be better in the second half. They should be better in the second half. They have better players that should wear down. I feel like I've talked more about Missouri this week. They've been in the league for 10 years. I've covered Georgia for 22 years. Those guys have been in the league for 10 years. I feel like I've talked more about Missouri this week than I have in the last 22 years combined because of the psychotic concern of Georgia fans. Georgia fans are really in their most comfortable place right now. They're nervous.
They are nervous.
Can't you just let them be nervous, Ryan? Here they are. We're going full their muscles right now.
Look, it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to not be as calm as you were about them when they play, quote unquote, poorly 2 weeks in a row. Kent State wasn't really poorly outside of a few plays in the first half, the offense just it wasn't crisp the way that you saw them be crisp against Oregon and against South Carolina. That crispness was just non-existent in the first half of the Missouri game. And you get down. I wouldn't call the environment hostile, but I was impressed with it. I didn't expect it to be as loud as it was and as thumping as it was. It was a little cold. Things were just a little bit off. And then you have the two fumbles. Second half, it picked up as it went. The fourth quarter, when there were 10 minutes left, I thought it was near perfect.
They destroyed Missouri in the second half. I'm not sure folks realize how badly they beat them up. I mean, they outscored them 20-6, but in terms of yardage, the discrepancy was almost 3-1.
It was, yeah.
And, if Mizzou doesn't have 16 points in the first half, we're not really talking about any football.
No, I mean, the second half was 20-6, I believe, was the discrepancy. Yeah, Missouri won the first half, Georgia won the second half, and Georgia won the game. And when we look back on it a couple weeks from now, if they win convincingly, are we going to look back and think about that Missouri game too much? No. We've discussed it. Everyone's had a struggle fest. Tennessee had a struggle fest with Florida. Alabama had a struggle fest with Texas. Ohio State had a struggle fest with Notre Dame. It's allowed to happen. You get used to the way they strangled people last year, the way they suffocated every single team almost. Yeah.
Earlier this year, they were strangling people.
They did. On both sides of the ball.
That's why people are in panic. They are saying, well, what is wrong here? Like, what just happened? And sports just happened. The other teams allowed to play. They get to execute. I thought the Missouri quarterback made two really good plays, and that really helped Missouri. But I don't know if Auburn, which has got its own, Auburn has its own set of problems right now.
It's got a whole lot of issues.
Very unhappy marriage.
Yes.
They're staying together for the kids for now. You see the scuttlebutt, which I have no idea. Jason Caldwell, over inside Auburn Tigers, and Mark Murphy, they know better than I would. How serious this thing is. Las Vegas builds buildings off of people making money. They installed Georgia as I'm just going to call it 30 because it goes up and down a little bit on Fridays. They've installed Georgia as a 4-touchdown and a little bit favorite over one of their bitter rivals here. Not 15. 15 is a lot. 7 and 8 is, you should win those games 3/4 of the time. We're talking about a 13-point advantage in theory for Georgia. And that if this doesn't go right, Brian Harsin certainly could be let go quickly. Now, I don't know if that's based on reality or not.
He could be gone to Sunday morning. I think that's realistic. I think it kind of depends on the way the game goes. I think that definitely is a factor, but he's hanging on a thread. If anyone's hanging on a thread, it's Brian Harsin, and that's the thread got cut, or ripped, however you want to put it. He's next, in my opinion. Herm Edwards was let go. That was dramatic. Paul Chris was let go, or Christ, I don't know how you pronounce it. He was let go a couple weeks ago. So no one's safe. I don't think a single head coach is safe. If anyone's safe, it's Nick Saban. But $4
million a year, kind of minimum. You cannot embarrass school. But Auburn didn't want him. Now the AD's been let go. Auburn has its own unique way of dealing with their football program. And, I've talked about this a lot over the years, but Georgia has really dominated this series from the last time Auburn won in Athens, which is 2005, which I'm not sure if all of y'all were all born by then, but that was a bizarre game where Auburn scored a touchdown on a 4th down play, recovering the ball in the end zone. Georgia nearly won that game twice. But anyway, since that time, Auburn's won exactly 3 football games against Georgia. One was when they won the national championship in 2010, the Cam Newton game, where he played outstanding in the second half for sure. One was the miracle, which I could not. I've never heard a stadium louder than that. It was hard to believe that happened. And of course, the game where they just demolished Georgia in 2017. In the last 17 years, Auburn has only defeated Georgia when they've gone on to play for the national championship or gone on to play for the SEC championship. Other than that, they have either decisively been beaten, like 11, 12, 14, 17, 18, 20, and 21, or they have lost tight games like in 19 and a couple of others in there. 09. The upset at 6 was just that's a whole. I could talk about that for 30 minutes with Matthew and that Georgia team they lost the week before to Kentucky. They go to Auburn, who's ranked number 5 in the country, for an 11:30 game, and they punch him square in the face. Brandon Cox is turning the ball over left and right. Trey Battle is flying to the end zone for Georgia. It was hard to understand what was happening that day. What we saw was the birth of modern Matthew Stafford not turning the ball over 5 times in Georgia winning. And that's what it was. From that moment on, blackout, the tight game in 8, tight game in 9. Georgia has really dominated Auburn.
It's a rivalry, but it hasn't. It's not been, for me watching throughout the years, it hasn't really been close. Yes, Auburn has grabbed a few, one of them being the miracle of Jordan Hare. Georgia's dominated this matchup at home. They've gone to Jordan Hare and won most of those games of late. I can remember as far back to Stafford and then a little bit of Cox. I remember that. But for me in my lifetime, I haven't witnessed an Auburn really dominate Georgia. The only game outside of Cam Newton dominating was that 2017 game that they avenged just a few weeks later, and they dominated that game.
And that kind of ended that game. I have seen Auburn absolutely dominate Georgia. 04 down there, that was one of the best Auburn teams we've seen in a very, very long time. That team was robbed of playing for a national championship. Now, they might not have won, but they didn't get a chance to play for it. That was wrong. But it is strange not seeing Auburn beat them. It's strange not seeing Auburn be a power. And right now, frankly, they don't matter. And that's not okay. That's not good for the SEC.
No, I don't even think that they're middle of the pack SEC. They're in the bottom tier of the SEC right now. That's not good for them. I think changes will be made here soon. They have to be good changes. They'll have to. They were. Listen. They hit a wall with Malzahn. They couldn't get past that wall, but they were good. They were in the top half of the SEC when he was there for all that time. They won the whole thing when he was the OC, but it had the last few years. They've just been. I don't even know if slowly is a good way to put it. They've just been falling off the cliff. It's getting faster and faster. They're 3-2. Weird last 2 weeks for them as far as the way the games went. They found a way to lose a game they shouldn't have, and they found a way to win a game they really shouldn't have. So the last 2 weeks have been pretty bizarre. 5 home games is kind of weird to start, and this is your first test with a guy that's starting for the 3rd time. You haven't had a consistent quarterback. Bo Nix was your most consistent guy at quarterback, and he was never great there. He was running around for not against Georgia, and you saw that this year too when he was playing for the Ducks.
So everybody, and we talked about this too much, but everybody has focused on this last 4 quarters of football. The issue too is typically when you play Georgia, if you want to beat them, you better have an NFL quarterback. You better have a pretty good team. I've talked about this like Joe Burrow twice, Tua, Jalen,
Bryce Young,
Mac Jones, Bryce Young, and Travis. So, and there's a couple of other guys.
They're all in the league. Whether they're backups or stars, they're in the league.
And it's a challenging thing. I thought last week, man, that they were running on Georgia. And I looked at the stats at the end of the game. They weren't.
So that's the same way I felt when I was looking back at it this morning. It felt like they ran all over. It was, excuse me, a few big plays. And the one big run was about half their yardage. I mean, the one big run which I think we've watched a lot of Malachi starts, but half of their rushing yards came on that one big play. They had around 80-something rushing yards, right?
You get a big run.
No, it does count. I'm not discounting it. I'm just saying the rest of the time they were pretty much swallowed up.
Couldn't do it, and then that's the challenge for Auburn, who has 2 of the best running backs in the league.
Yes. Arguably the best running back duo in college football.
What are we doing over
I just don't think they're going to pound it on Georgia. I don't think that's how they're going to come in here and win. It's going to be tough. They're going to have to throw the ball if they're going to want to beat Georgia tomorrow.
And he showed last week
He can sling it around.
The ball.
He can sling it around. The completion percentage was, I think he was around 50. I think he was exactly 50, actually.
Where they really did.
I have it written down. 50, I've got notes. 50%. Yeah, he had 337 yards, but he was 50% against LSU. You got to be more precise than that if you're going to beat them here tomorrow. And if you're throwing 50 times, you're probably not. You're not in a position to win the game. So it's a lot to ask of someone who hasn't played a lot of college football. It's not impossible. We know that it's sports, anything can happen. But they will have to run the ball effectively. They will have to establish that if they want to beat Georgia. They have two guys that can do it in Hunter and Bigsby. Those are great running backs. I think they'll both be NFL running backs. Can they do it consistently? Can they establish it early on?
Well, I don't know.
Probably not.
They're not a 30-point dog for no reason. There's an explanation for this. When Matthew and them went over there in 6, I think Georgia was like a 12-point dog. And I thought there was 0% chance they would win that game. That thing was shocking to me that they won that game. Mark Richt came into the press conference after that. He started like laughing almost, or smiling, one of the two. And
You
he
talking
was
about
like,
06?
This is an 06. So that would be as close to, if Auburn were to win tomorrow, that would be as close to an upset as that.
Were the two programs in 06 as far apart as they are today?
No, because Georgia won the SEC the year before.
Exactly.
12 games before that, they won
That's
the
the
league.
difference.
And, Auburn was number 5 team in the country. The big thing here, and our special guest can tell you in a little bit, the difference right now is,
I see the resolution.
yes. The big difference is when you play Auburn, you play the Gators, Tennessee, they have guys.
Yes.
They can beat you.
Yes.
And in 06, Georgia went down there with a guy who turned out to be a Super Bowl champion at quarterback. Thomas Brown, they had a slew of guys. And they played well. And Auburn did not. They turned it over, I think, 4 times. It was not good. And that's what happened. Now, tomorrow, if Auburn gets 4 touchdowns, they're going to have a chance to win this game. That's just not good. They probably will win this game. You cannot turn it over 4 times. That's a third of your possessions.
No. I think that there will be a big emphasis. Well, there's a big emphasis every single game and every single day in practice. Kirby Smart talked about it on Monday, I believe. Ball control. No, you can't score without the football. And he was asked about, is there going to be more of an emphasis on ball control and ball security? And he said, that's the first thing we do at practice every single day. Those drills are surrounded around that. There's not going to be some different emphasis about that. They will just have to play better as far as ball control goes. 2 fumbles last week. You get the muff punt the week before. There was 1 interception, I believe, and then there was a fumble. You just have to take care of the ball.
Look at your notes.
I've got plenty of notes.
Let's make excuses for you, Ryan.
No, I'm not making excuses. I'm pointing out facts.
All right.
I'm pointing out facts.
And give your explanations.
No, I just wanted to point out that they're a banged up team right now. You're always going to be banged up in the middle of the season. They need to get through these next 2 weeks because I think they will be a different team heading into Jacksonville with the injuries. But some of the guys that play what I would consider to be significant snaps when they're in there, or they're just total starters, guys that we know for sure are not 100%. Smile Mondon, Tresman Marshall, A.D. Mitchell, Arian Smith, Jalen Carter, who's not even going to play, Kenny McIntosh. I watched Xavier Truss wince and limp around on Saturday. Tate Ratledge, Kirby does not believe. Tate will tell you that he's 100%, but Kirby does not believe he's 100%.
The offensive line's got to play better.
They do. They need to win that battle.
Let me go on a rant.
Okay, here we go.
The offensive line needs to play better. It's that simple. Those guys play better. Georgia probably doesn't lose this season. Okay, but we know what Georgia's going to get into at some stage. We're going to have to deal with either Clemson in the semifinal, or you're going to have to deal with Alabama in the SEC championship game. You're going to have to deal with a team that has legitimate, first round, top 75 NFL draft guys. And if you're not ready to ball out, you're going to lose. And if you're not ready mentally to physically confront the person in front of you and get them to the ground, you're going to have a hard time having a long day. Stetson had a long day on Saturday.
Did.
He fought through it. But this group's got to get healthier. But the message was on Paul's show, and he was dead on correct. They did not play well. Herbie talked about it in Missouri in the closet that we were in doing the press conference. It was they got beat up. They got whipped. He said they got their ass whipped. Now I don't talk like that.
In front of people. In front of the children. They are at home. They're laughing at home.
Get it for now. No, it's still early, Ryan. Our friends at Peace Line are helping us out.
We need to get some of those over here somehow.
And Ryan is saying he's eager to get that. So I do want to hold on now. This is something that's going to be out of order.
No, I know.
Because you're out of order, Senator.
No.
I wonder how many Auburn people are going to be here tomorrow. Now, I know the students are starting coming. No, it's Auburn weekend. It's a huge social weekend.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. There's tons of people coming in. The Auburn people that I knew actually bailed, so they're not coming in. But you can just tell by the way that the city is right now, right in this very moment. The traffic, the traffic is whatever. We're not getting into another traffic rant, but
Why not?
I'm sure you want to go ahead and have 30 seconds to talk about the traffic.
I've seen worse.
No, I was back and forth today pretty fast, but I think that this is going to be a full Sanford Stadium, I believe. Some they'll have their little group, they'll have their one section, and then a couple sprinkled throughout. But Georgia will dominate the stands by far, and it's going to be loud. What we saw against
let me say this one. People don't understand. People who are going to Athens, they don't realize how nice they've got it. Just with Athens. I mean, honestly, look at this weather. Look at just this venue at Roma, okay? B, Sanford Stadium is no longer like it was when I was a student here or younger. Sanford Stadium is a very difficult place to play.
It is.
Period. And we're going to talk about the 5 o'clock hour with the Auburn offensive lineman had to say, which is fine. Actually, I wouldn't have said that out loud, but what he said was true, but I wouldn't have said that out loud. But Sanford Stadium can get all over the top of you. Ask Arkansas a year ago, Kentucky, Notre Dame in 2019. These were top 10 teams that came into Athens and either didn't score or just got pumped the whole day. And it's hard because if you're on the road, it's very simple. If you're on the road, you're playing offense, you cannot hear.
No.
But once you can't hear, you can't hear. And I don't know if it scares the guys, but it
rattles you a little bit.
It was really problematic for people to come in here. Sanford is a much more difficult place to play now than it was.
It is. If they show up, it is very hard to hear. Noon against Arkansas last year. We know what happened. The fall starts. It was deafening at noon, which was surprising to me in a good way. It's good to see that crowd. I think back to the Notre Dame game at night, how loud that was, what the potential was, how they had to call those timeouts. Yes, they get loud, especially later in the day. But the noon kick last year was for a noon kick was an out. Yes.
Way too many. If you're watching this, you're probably going to the game. We've got 39 people here at home already. They're just open, and they will be open.
There's going to be bands following us.
So they'll be here all night. There's playoff baseball. The Braves are a little bit. They're not right now.
No, they're still.
So
Matt is getting ready for sure. He's probably a 2 or 3 or 4 by now.
This is also, speaking of Matt, a huge recruiting.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm not going to skip ahead to. I don't know if we have.
You have it towards the end.
We have it towards the end. Okay. But it is a massive recruiting weekend for a program that takes advantage of its recruiting prowess all the time, and they'll need. I do not think Georgia should move the game from Jacksonville, but when you see the crowd tomorrow, you'll see Kirby's point, which is we cannot recreate this anywhere other than here, and our biggest rival we never play in Athens. So he's got a point.
It would be beneficial in some ways and detrimental in other ways. That's with every change.
I would not move it, but I'm not saying that it is without merit. But I think at the end of the day, this is a much deeper discussion. I think at the end of the day, you are what you are. You are what you've always been. And there's been so much change in college football. Not all bad, but there's been so much change in college football now that Texas and Georgia will play each other essentially every other year. Do you really want to cash in one of the things that you are? I don't think it's the equivalent to Georgia changing their colors to black and gray, but going down to Jacksonville is a basic part of Georgia. There's plenty of Georgia people that have had their fill of the tech rivalry.
Yes.
The
rivalry at this point.
And they are mistaken.
We're good. We're good.
You always need to play. This is Atlanta.
2020 was the only time that didn't happen in a really long time.
And there's a lot of reasons why.
No, it's a huge deal. Obviously you're not waking up and saying, "Oh man, this is going to be some crazy game anymore." It's just it happened. And as of a few years ago, Georgia Tech has beaten Georgia. I would consider that somewhat recently, but Georgia's dominating all their rivalries because of the prowess of the program right now. This is an elite program. There's only a handful of elite programs in college football at the moment. And for the most, Florida is the closest out of the three rivalries they have. Florida has been the closest. They won in 2020.
But it doesn't take Auburn. Having done what I do for a living, you get to know a lot of people that have been around the league and so forth. And they will just tell you, it's not going to take long for Florida to get good. It's not going to take long for Auburn to get good. If you really do it right, it takes about 2 years. So, the Gators, if they do it right, and I don't know, then it shouldn't take them much more than the, say, 24 season. They should totally be back in the middle of this thing. It didn't take them that long with Dan Mullen. Think about it. The first time if I'm not mistaken, this is going off memory, Georgia played back-to-back top 10 games against the Gators. Now, they won 2 of the 3 because they did not win the 1 in 20. But that's how quick Dan Mullen got them. Florida wanted zero part of Georgia in 2017. I'm going to tell you right now, they had no interest in playing that game. You could see it in the warm-ups. Georgia was going to crush them. They did. It was hilarious. But, a year later, Florida had the lead in the third quarter off of Felipe Frank's throw for a touchdown. Now, Georgia zoomed away in the third and fourth quarter. But if you're Georgia, Florida, LSU, Auburn to some degree as well, it shouldn't take you long to get back.
It shouldn't be that
Particularly
difficult.
now with NIL, which we're going to spend zero time. I'm not talking about that. This is overtalk.
When you're in a position like that, you have the resources you have, the region you're in, the competition you play, the TV money.
If you were Florida, Auburn, LSU, if you were playing in a league that has the television prowess, Celeste, you do not see anywhere. Georgia Auburn is the 10th most watched game in college football over the last decade. The 10th most watched. You want to hear about SC and UCLA, Notre Dame, USC. There are other big
Ohio State, Michigan.
Ohio State, Michigan is a huge game.
Yeah. Auburn, Alabama is a huge game.
But, Auburn, Georgia is the quintessential classic SEC battle. These guys are about to play for the 127th time. If people know this game. So you have that. If you're Auburn, you have particular advantages. They're not always ideal. You play in the biggest game in the South every year, the Iron Bowl. You play in arguably the second or third biggest game in the South every year, Georgia Auburn. So there are things, but I don't know. This is a discussion. They got to get. This is not good enough right now. They know it, and that's
it's not close to being good enough. That's the real problem.
But
these programs are not close to each other at all right now.
They're not right now.
But they can be in 2 or 3 years if they get the right guy in place, the right people behind them.
That's what's this coming down to. Because if you don't get Dion, who would immediately make you relevant in terms of splash, who else do you go after? You attack Q Freeze. Do you look at Lane?
Is it about splash or is it about the right guy?
You've got to get the right person.
My Auburn buddy texted me about this yesterday.
The right person. We are revisiting this. That means you're not like the promise. You're not failure.
Yes.
Georgia has been fortunate. I cannot say it's rigged off, I would say. But in the last 5 coaching hires, he basically made the right hire. You know, you're telling me that Jim Bob was the wrong hire.
No, I mean,
Jim did took Georgia from where they were to where they wanted to be, which was nationally relevant. Now, it fell apart. That's the problem. Mark was not right now. Of course he was. So, obviously, he was. I just, it is tricky though to hire the right person. Basketball's not work out. Basketball's not work out. So you've got to get the right person. Okay, let's talk about this right now. Who are Georgia's MVPs so far this season? You tell me. You tell me.
Pod's one of them.
Okay, Jack Wesley.
Pop was my honorable mention.
This person is a smart person. We've got the red zone shirt. A. B. He's got a book about instruction, which you can get down below. But I want to add. That shirt is hilarious.
Yeah.
Todd Kirby shirt.
It's not for me, but
it's not for you.
It's not for me.
Something wrong with that.
Okay. Well, we're entitled to our opinions, but it is a funny shirt. I know it's a funny shirt.
Let's talk about Pop then.
Pop leads them in tackles. He's all over the place. You know what? I'm adding him to my MVP list because I just, it felt too obvious, but he is emotional. He has been named the captain as a sophomore. That is a big deal. He is replacing who I thought was going to be the most difficult player to replace for them this offseason in Nakobe Dean. He flies around, man. He is there. He flies around the way Nakobe did. And he's at the ball. And there hasn't really been a drop-off there. He could have, I think, 2 interceptions at this point. Dropped one of them. So he's been important. He's been important.
Live game, I was like, oh, that was a good breakup. I was like, he should have picked that off, man.
But he very, very animated. When something good happens, when something bad happens, you can see it in his face, you can see it in his mannerisms. Do you not like that? Nakobe was different. He was
more cerebral. I don't know. I
don't know if it matters that much.
I watched Dominic Sanders at Tucker, and I thought Dominic was too much, and he had a great career.
He did.
Yeah. So Pop is in the same situation. What about Jack Wesley?
He's 12 for 13. He hasn't missed an extra point. He's been put in so many high-pressure situations this year, especially the last 2 weeks. You know, they need those field goals. They need those points, and he's been on his mark. He's been calm, cool, collected. I think he's better than Rodrigo Blankenship. I don't care if that pisses people off.
I do too, but that's
He agrees.
You
don't think so?
I got Stetson down too.
I don't.
He did not play well last week, but he's
I don't have Stetson down as an MVP, but I'm not saying he's played poorly. I think Stetson's played really well for the most part, and if you actually line him up against, The world just crumbled. Yeah. Did you feel? I don't feel any wind. Stetson, yeah. We were talking about Stetson. Now I'm quieter. He has. He just has. He wasn't as accurate the last couple of weeks, and I'm not talking about completion percentage. I'm talking about ball placement. It's not where you'd want it to be on some throws. In the fourth quarter against Missouri, I thought he was near perfect. I mean, it's understated where some of the balls were.
You can't constantly play great.
No, he actually has more passing yards than all the major quarterbacks, all the Heisman contenders. He just doesn't have the touchdowns because they haven't been converting in the red zone, but only 1 interception. If they convert, they're obliterating everybody. If they're converting, they are obliterating. But so Pod was one of them, and you also had Pod. You had, so we're talking about Stetson, your second one.
What about Malachi?
I have him on there.
He's
18 years old, man. We knew.
But it's so hard to tell with guys when they played in the secondary in halftime.
Yes.
He played quarterback and got to free, but what he's doing right now, he's probably their best defender.
Yeah. When you go up to Jefferson, just a quick 35-minute drive, you could see how quick he was. You can see he was a track star too. He could jump, he can run. His awareness. We talked to him. We talked to his family. We know he's up there mentally. He's well. He's collected. He's a good kid, and he's starting as a true freshman. I mean, and he played a lot. He could be all SEC. ESPN has him ranked as the number one true freshman in college football, if you care about that or not. But he's playing really well. He flies around. The interception he had against Oregon is one of the most impressive catches I've ever seen. It was freaky. He could have had a very similar one last week against Missouri. He had the play of the game against Missouri when he tracked down the running back and got him at the 1 yard line. Hustle, speed, and passion. That's what that was on that play. Kirby talks about it's the mental side that gets him on the field. It's the athletic ability that separates him from the other players. When you combine that, you have a superstar in the making, a guy that is going to, if he plays like this his whole career and continues to get better, he's going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. He's going to be one of those guys we look at as one of the best safety prospects ever. That is Malachi Starks' ceiling.
I mean, the thing that was, to me, the Oregon play was one thing. He did not get the interception against Missouri, but when they went deep on him, it's not the smartest decision by the quarterback. But Malachi's running at the receiver,
Yeah.
He turns around, he just barely does not come down. We want to make sure that y'all are enjoying Tuesday Light today. That's who's making this possible.
We got to get some up here.
About 23 hours before Georgia and Auburn take off at Sanford Stadium, the Dogs are a 30-point favorite, which is just really hard to digest. But they are a massive favorite over the Auburn Tigers, who are kind of trying to find their way to a new beginning. Whenever that starts, we'll see. But hard to understand why Georgia's, the Auburn Georgia's fall apart. But that really easy. See, more and more crowded
It is.
And I think it was fun to see you talk about you're going to pick this week.
All the picks? Are we going to the picks? Oh, I had one more MVP, actually, before that. Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers. He's got the most receiving yards out of any tight end in college football, and that's not on the most catches. When he touches the ball, I've never seen a bad thing happen when Brock Bowers touches the football. Okay? Yes. They can still recover, but he didn't. He did what the coaching staff would believe is the right thing to do, and he did not stretch the ball out. He tucked it in. We talked to him about that after the game. That's what they're taught to do, and he made a quick, instinctual play to hold it in. But it looked like he scored. Yeah, both hands.
I would have gone for it with both hands. One hand, no. With both hands on the ball.
It's a decision that's made in the moment, and he made what was the right choice. He thought about it.
And he that's why he's on the cover of
Preview magazine. It is still standing. It has withstood the wind. The wind can't knock down the preview magazine. So he has 3 rushing attempts and 3 rushing touchdowns this year. The top end speed is crazy for a guy his size. He bounces off of people. He can run routes. He can block. There's nothing that Brock Bowers can't do, and they need to scheme him even more because I have now turned, Matt DeBerry turned me. Brock Bowers is the best player in college football.
So my man right here is $43
Yep.
Photograph is a little bit soft, as we call it. But this guy was gone.
He was gone, and that's not the only play like that we've seen. The first time we saw it was against UAB last year, where the corners had the angle on him in the UAB. Boom, not touched. We've seen him moss guys. The South Carolina game, maybe it was one of his most statistical games, but to me, Brock Bowers has dropped my jaw a few times. That's the furthest it's been dropped because you saw him do everything. You saw him block. You saw him go up with strong hands in the corner of the end zone and moss somebody. You saw him fly by everybody.
I was right there for that catch against Carolina. It's like, hey man, it's enough. You just got to get one foot in. It's cool. Just one.
But he got both in. He got both in.
As he falling out into the sideline in South Carolina. I mean, it was an exceptional play. Now, the thing about tomorrow is, if you're Georgia, you not need to do the exception. You need to do the routine. You need to come in here with an attitude, physicality, and so forth. Auburn is going to punch you in the mouth. They're going to try to. If you
Oh no! He fell. That's the first time Brock's been knocked down, man. Thank you.
That's my take. That's my take. Everybody wants to know, Ryan.
What do they want to know?
They want to know your picks this week.
My picks this week.
SEC and national points.
I've got them written down.
All right, we're going to start with Missouri getting 10.5 points out in Florida.
I think Florida covers.
I took Missouri, actually.
I think they'll have a hangover from last week. I really think they'll have a hangover. It's not at home. You'll be in the Swamp. What time is that kick? Doesn't matter that much. I don't think.
Well, the only thing about that is Missouri has played well right now. They've got the Braves kicked in a couple of times. Again, we're everybody trying to keep shit line out. Ryan, we're not mind trying to keep shit line out.
I'm trying to get us some.
This is probably the best, most intriguing game in the league. Tennessee hosting, going out to that.
Yes. I do think that's intriguing. Tennessee was off last week, so they've got rest going into this game. LSU is coming off of the win over Auburn. I think LSU has gotten better as the season's gone on. I think no, they're not better than Tennessee. They're not better than Tennessee. I think Tennessee's offense is very, very good. They're averaging almost 600 yards of offense a game. I think it's in the 560s, and they snap the football every 7 or 8 seconds. It is nuts.
That is the one offense that scares the dickens out of those coaches. They do not like to get that process. They're not ready for it. All right, so you've got the balls covered.
I do have the balls covered. I do. They're just better than LSU. I think they're that many points better. I think they win by a couple touchdowns. LSU doesn't get blown off. We got it. I'm excited. Thanks.
So, hey, listen, how about Arkansas and State? Does it stay? Does Arkansas play better?
Oh yeah. No, I thought they would play better than what last week, especially when Bryce Young goes down. That was an opportunity, and they didn't seize the opportunity. You're at home. I know that the crowd was definitely excited for that, but Arkansas's defense is not good, man. It is not good at all. They give up a lot of yards. What do we got behind us? We got one of the worst NFL games I've seen in my life right behind us. It was hard to watch. That's very good. No, I do like it. Here it is. I think it's a pretty can, too. I'm not kidding. The unofficial beer of Georgia.
Unofficial. So no James Oak.
No. What's next? It was okay. Well,
Well, the next one, let's skip the next one.
okay.
The Rebels are going to Nashville. This is actually a traditional SEC.
Weird. Weird. I think Ole Miss. I think they'll cover.
They should cover.
They have a good
They
offense.
don't finish shots.
They were handed the game last week twice, and they took the opportunity the second time and closed it out. Will Levis, you got to protect the football. Brock Bowers protected the football last week. Will Levis did not twice. The second one was not as much his fault as the first one, but the second one was, like what would be considered like a sack fumble. Our friend is here.
LB, our special guest is Ryan. Ryan's getting off.
I'm gonna take a break.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some food.
Yes.
The tacos.
I'm joined now by a 4-year. Now let me not get this wrong. You've got to clear out. By a 4-year. I can't get too close to these microphones. Okay, 4-year letter. Okay, now. All right, Larry Brown was a 4-year starter at Georgia for the football team. A 2-year starter or 3 for basketball? 4-year starter in basketball. 3, 2 or 3, whatever it was. We're going to talk about Georgia. Auburn, we're going to talk about the tight ends at Georgia now. We were just talking, Ryan and I were talking about Brock Bowers. We did not talk about Darnell yet. First question is first. Why weren't you as good as those guys?
That's a great question. Well, I did start 4 years.
You did start 4 years.
I have sneaky athleticism. I don't look fast. I don't look very quick. I just kind of got the job done. But those guys are great athletes.
Why? What's different now? We're 20 years older now. What's changed?
Man, I think the way guys are trained. I mean, they started early. That's what happened a lot to me. I mean, they carry over.
What was your summer like? We played AAU basketball, but how much football did you do in the summer? How much do you think they do now?
Oh, man, it's too much. I mean, they have the young guys are playing football, Pop Warner in the summer. They're training in the summer. So I say they're putting a lot of time in. So, we didn't put a lot of time. We were just pretty athletic.
But this was you, Mike Bobo, Hines, Kirby, Dax Langley, help me out, the Lucky Triplets, everybody. It was a different time in athletics. Is it? You coach now in high school. Is it? Do you get? I guess the question is, do you get worried that we're overdoing it, kind of?
I think we're starting a lot young.
Too young?
Too young. I mean, it's too serious. I mean, you look at the news and, you're having, fights at, Pop Warner. You got blood, knocking people out. So, I mean, it's starting too young and it's too serious.
What's it like dealing with Auburn? You played Auburn in a lot of different sports. Obviously, the game most people are going to remember was the '96 game before overtime. It was very cold that night, and I'm not sure I remember much else about it. Robert did not start. I don't think Bobo started. Yeah, he did. Yeah. What was the lock? Can you remember the locker room after that game at all? I think that was the first time they'd beaten Auburn since '92, so it had been a while. But the way that game was, yeah, yeah.
But it was great.
Yeah, Corey Allen. You and Corey were tight when you were younger.
From the same community.
Yeah.
North played Eagles, I was playing Eagles.
What do you recall? What Auburn week was like
leading? I mean, is it different? It's not Mississippi State. It's not, you know, why is Auburn different? Do you think?
It's just so much. We used to go stay, in a hotel in the brain.
Trying to get it right.
Man, yeah, I mean, it's a crazy week. I mean, the Deep South oldest, rivalry, 127 years.
Yeah.
And my goodness, man, I mean, it doesn't matter who's ranked what.
No.
All of them, and we've been fortunate. We won the last what?
Seven.
Something,
Whatever it is.
14, So
Is it like playing guys that you played in high school all the time? Is that what it is, or what? Florida Georgia's different. Tech Georgia's different. Auburn Georgia, there are a lot of similarities.
I think you hit it on the nail. A lot of guys who we grew up playing against, they went on the other side of the state line, and I think that's what makes it very interesting.
Darnell and when did you realize those guys were as kind of freaky deaky as they are?
Man,
I mean, Darnell, you realize Darnell is about 2 or 3 inches taller than you are.
I thought I was a big tight end playing in the NFL at 6'5", 270.
Right. He's 6'7", dude. He does. That's the crazy part.
I thought
he was, but he's not got it on this guy. No, he's not got it on this guy and this guy's out here trying to jump over top of people every single play.
Right. That was one thing with myself and Jermaine Wiggins and Brandon McMichael and Tavares Johnson.
Y'all weren't trying to jump over the top of people, but you didn't. He did.
I jumped over one. I think it was Georgia Tech.
Okay. Oh, in 98.
98.
Okay.
I really thought I was just playing snap back.
Speak easy. These mics are hot all of a sudden. So you actually came in, and some people. It's the wind. Some people may not realize this, but you came in with Kirby, so you spent 5 full years with the Kirby Smart, getting the Kirby Smart experience, which is its own unique thing. We're gonna stay G-rated. We're gonna stay G-rated. What do you remember about him back then, and does it look different now?
Kirby was a funny guy. Love to have fun. Mike Ramirez, that crew.
Tolbert.
We all kind of hung out, had fun. And, I don't see a whole lot of
Are you surprised that this has worked?
I'm not.
Why?
Having an interesting record at the University of
Yeah, that's right.
I've seen a lot.
Yeah.
Great golf.
Ray, Jim, and then 3 basketball coaches.
You got one?
Oh,
Glenn.
oh, yeah.
One day.
Did he talk to y'all?
One day he had a meeting. It was around Christmas.
So I didn't know that. I did not know that. He got all of y'all in there. This is a great example of the difference between Georgia pre-Jim and now. Okay, he left to take the Minnesota job. You cannot compare Georgia to Minnesota on a lot of levels. Yeah, it's jackets and T-shirts. So you're not surprised with where Georgia's gone under Kirby. He's obviously very intense, etc.
I'm not at all.
Right. one athlete they didn't get. We'll close on this. One of your family members will be playing for the Auburn Tigers tomorrow. He's actually, I think, their best player. If he's not, he's one of Tank Bigsby, and they're just a superstar.
Yes, and I'm kind of bittersweet moment.
Sure.
Got myself and
There you go. You're gonna have to sit in the Auburn section. Well, but we'll see. We'll see.
have to make something happen.
We'll see.
I want him to have a great game, but I don't take it.
Do you have doubt? Or is it Auburn and you're kind of like, hey, it's.
I don't have any doubt, but it's on.
Right.
Put everything aside. It's all with. It's here. We're going to get that next shot.
Yeah, you got that right. No doubt about that. Georgia's going to get their best shot from now on. All right, Larry Brown has joined us for a little bit of time here. LB, it's good to see you again. And you're at Oglethorpe right now, trying to get the state championship. That's easier said than done, as we've learned. All right. Well, thanks for dropping by, and we'll see you soon. All right, man. All right, LB is out. Y'all say hey to Larry before he goes. He's got to get out of here quickly. We're going to hope that this wind is not so bad. Anna Ruth's going to come up, and hopefully we will not have the feedback we've had lately.
Hello.
All right, Anna Ruth's here, which it's time to talk. Now I've got the sun right in my face.
I'm not just sitting here.
No. All right, so this week, tell me about your stories the last 2 weeks and who we've been concentrating on for the Dogs.
So this week I focused on.
That's me.
I focused on Malachi Starks. He's just someone that Kirby, I feel like, has really been talking about. He's played really well the last few weeks, and it's really just an outstanding freshman. And it's from right up the road, Jefferson, and in contact with his defensive line coach, and he was awesome. And
What do you say about Malachi? I mean, he's not that far from high school.
yeah, exactly. And so he just talked about how much of a leader he was and how he did well in school and in the classroom and then on the field, and said that he was always someone that even if that having a bad day that he would go out of his way and someone else having a bad day be like, hey, it's okay, you can do it, man, and really just push people through your practice. So yeah, so that was this week, and then the week before was Kyrus Jackson, which I actually can't.
Yeah, let's hear about Kyrus. Now, folks don't know Kyrus Jackson, obviously an older player, fifth-year senior who's played for Georgia and was very critical in 2017. But what you wrote about was what he's doing in the community.
Yes. So he honestly, I think I told Brian this. He got him on Wednesday again, and he's my favorite player. I think to have to talk to. He is just loves talking to the media. Gets the best responses, and it's really just all about Georgia football. He always talks about repping the G, having that G across your chest, and not even on the field, but in the community, which is kind of what I talked about.
The elementary school?
Yes. So he went to
Whit Davis, right across the street. Yeah.
So Whit Davis Elementary School, and kind of just volunteered there with the kids, and just kind of encouraging them and did a lot of tidbits with them, and I saw a video of him on Twitter and he was like, they can, we will, all this stuff.
So he was getting the kids going.
Yes, and I don't know, just players and stuff like that stands out more to me because it's just so awesome seeing players in the athletes community.
Did y'all ever have anyone come visit you when you were in, elementary school? Do you remember anything like that?
Yes.
Okay, of course you do.
Yes.
It's very memorable.
Yeah, I remember in, third grade, actually, we had Kenya Drake, who, my dad coach, and he came to our, Christmas party, and, it was just awesome. Oh, my gosh, this guy's fitness. He was just a high school
and they are
player, and now it's NFL.
But the thing about it is, with community outreach, those people are your fans. I mean, they deserve your respect, your outreach because they are cheering for you. They are the ones, or their families are the ones, making a difference on Saturdays. And so I think, to me, Kyrgios is natural at it. He's been doing it for a long time. He's been in the SEC. Oh man, I can't remember the name of the exact committee that he's on, but he is a representative for the university to the SEC on that function. But it's important. All that stuff. It's not just window dressing. It is important what you're doing in the community. It is important that you are active in your community. Georgia matters a lot in Athens, and Kyrgios' time at Georgia is winding down, unfortunately. But Malachi's is just beginning, and we will see just what else he has in store. But as a player, he's exceptional. And you watched the Mizzou game last week and saw the rundown.
Which is exactly why he made that really high effort tackle.
Pretty much saved the game.
Exactly. And so I remember watching that play actually here, and I saw that and I was like, oh wow.
Here is at Paloma Park. Peach State Light is helping us with our event today. We have quite a crowd developing. I'm going to attempt to show it. Let me see. Oh, the crowd. As the crowd is getting hyped. Hold on. I'm doing it wrong. Sorry. Hold on. I can't. There it is. There, see? There's everyone. It's not too late to come out. Peach State Light is helping us out. We've also got DAWGSTRUCTIONs on hand. Anna Ruth, excuse me, I'm getting sunlight right in my eyeballs. It's great fun, let me tell you. I don't know. But this week, I was talking to Ryan earlier about this. This week with Auburn, you're already seeing people come in here. We're at Paloma Park, downtown. I always call this on the left-hand side of downtown because if you're walking away from campus. But downtown here at Paloma Park, it is really one of the few weekends where you can consistently depend on it being a huge weekend in town. Oh, no, got it. Oh, they do? I did not know that. Okay. What take me through your game day when you're not working with us. What is your game day like? You roll out of bed at like what, 1? That's too late. No, I'm kidding. 10ish. That's not good. That is terrible. We should do something about that. Yeah, that too. I agree.
I mean, I've been to other schools.
Okay, here we go. Did you go to South Carolina? Because they're very big on their tailgates. Yeah, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. South Carolina inside. People don't realize how great they've got into Athens. All right. Well, but when you're living, when you're living where you're living, you don't always appreciate how great it is, and I understand that. But I want you to help me. We're going to have audience participation right now. All right. Yes, that's right. We're going to see who does this the best, and they're going to get a prize. We're getting one book away right now. My man right here is a genius. These are 2 geniuses over here. We're going to have at least 3 people do this, and we're going to have the audience decide who does it the best. I'm going to form a line. Well, wait till I tell you what it is first. Whoever calls the dogs the best, not judged by me, but judged by the crowd, free book, okay? Awesome gift or not gift. Take it home and keep it yourself. So if you want to call the dogs, we're over here. Form your line. We will do. I see this group. This group wants to do it over here, but you cannot be bashful. And the bros over here, we got. Who can call the dogs the best? That's who's going to get the free book. Form your line, and we will be returning to this. Don't be bashful. You're going to be doing it tomorrow anyway. Why not just get a free book out of it, for God's sake? I shouldn't ask you to call a dog. I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
Is it embarrassing even? You're not going to do that. Okay. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. All right, our friends at Peach State Light have helped us out. Y'all should really check it out. It's a 16 ounce, the unofficial beer of Georgia. They didn't get with James Oglethorpe in time to make it the official one. For more information, call Jake, 706-461-1257. That's interesting. Jake. Have you ever dated a Jake?
No. No Jakes.
What did you say?
I said no Jakes.
No Jakes. Not legal. No one's going to do. I'm giving this crowd a little bit more time to call the dogs. If you're willing to call the dogs, if you're the only person at this stage, you will get a $50 book that I will sign for your mother-in-law. That way you get, scratch that off your list. This guy gets it. He's saying no mother-in-laws. Step one. You're going to, oh no, this is my food. Thank you. Oh no, I cannot eat all of that. That's not going to be. You eat it. Start with it. I know that's I'm not going to eat on camera, unfortunately. But I'm telling you right now, this is the best thing that I eat. This is here. These and the pretzels are legit. These are legit. They're very good. These are. You start. Yeah, go ahead. You eat, and then you're getting back over here on the in the salt mines. All right. So hey, listen, is Georgia going to cover a 30-point line or not? That is 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion. Now you tell me. I know I don't know. I picked them. I said they would.
I mean, I think that here's the thing. Tomorrow is different.
Why?
Because of the rivalry.
Okay.
Or your rivalries.
There are only 3. There are only 3.
No, I mean, I'm hoping at least that over the past few weeks, we've been challenged a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that Florida we have the same mindset as we did before. I'm hoping that's the same.
Well, you have to be bad things are going to happen.
Yes,
Bad things are going to happen. Here are these pretzels. Oh my God. This is dangerous. Now, here are the pretzels here at Pullman Club. They really are very good, and they're very dangerous because I will eat all of them. I will eat all of them.
But I think we can.
Well,
I say we because I'm
right. So you think they can cover the 30-point line?
Yes.
I think they will.
Yes.
We will see.
And I think with the whole home game as well, just that atmosphere and with the kick, I think that'll help things.
Okay. You and I are going to talk about what was said earlier today. And for those of you just coming out, I've seen you. If you call the dogs the best, you get a free book. I see a young man who is eager to call the dogs, but it's okay. Free book for the person who calls the dogs the best. We'll see how it goes. Let's see how this progresses. All right, on Wednesday, one of the most bizarre things I've seen in a long time. And our friends, again, from Peach State Light are helping us here today at Paloma Park on, I want to say Washington, right? Is this on Washington?
Yes.
Going crazy.
Yes.
On Washington Street downtown in Athens. It's a very nice place. You good? Yeah, no, I was just out here talking about it's very nice, shaded area. It's not that hot. The person who calls the dogs gets a book. But anyway, they got to win the competition. Auburn center Brandon Council, during his interview, these can be dangerous when you're with local media who can often be sympathetic, I guess is the best way to put it. This is what he had to say about Georgia. Now, I'm not going to say anything he said here was wrong. I'm just going to say I wouldn't say my wife looks heavy. Okay? She doesn't. But anyway, that's okay. They got some. This is what he had to say about the Dogs. He says they got some interior stunts that kind of hinders the run game, but we're going to start off fast. If you start off fast, run the ball, and keep them out of their third down packages, really we could demolish them. I personally believe up front. He goes on to say the guys that do come out, talking about Georgia defense, I don't think they trust them. If we keep them out of third down where they can't bring in packages and have to keep their main guys on the field, we're just going to run the ball on them all day because they're going to get tired. We have a chance to go out there and do something that's not been done in a long time, and that's beat Georgia at Georgia. That would be a big thing. Our goal is to go in there like a SWAT team, in and out, and quiet the noise and beat their behinds and get out. Now, I'm not a police officer, but I will tell you, most SWAT teams do not make their impending arrival. They do not notify the folks that they're coming, that they're on the way. So he's let them know. What his logic is not incorrect. I just wouldn't say it out loud.
No.
Well, what are you doing? Like, we could demolish them should never come out of an SEC football player's mouth. We're going to run the ball on them all day long because they're going to get tired. That's another thing I wouldn't say. I would also not prejudge what the other coaching staff is doing by saying, I don't think they trust them. Now, Brandon Council, he might get in trouble on Saturday. I mean, that might not be an ideal situation. Listen. Georgia typically has message discipline, is what I would say. But he said this on Wednesday in the afternoon. Kirby had already gone earlier that day, so there was really no availability until Georgia that night, and I don't think it really came up. Look, he's not wrong. If you run on people, they'll get tired. It's just what it is. But some of the aggressive language, I don't know. I'll tell you this, though. Now, you're in college. And this guy is clearly smart. He is in his 7th year of college right now. He's in his 7th year of college, which means he's brilliant. I'm just going to tell you right now, the longer you can stay in college, the better. So he's not an idiot. But I don't know why. I guess he got a little bit out in front with his skis and kind of overdid it. And the Auburn Sports Communications Department did not cut it off. I don't know why. That was their prerogative, but I'm going to eat one of these pretzels. We're still here at Paloma. It's hot. I'm not going to double dip either. We're here at Paloma Park. I would recommend the pretzels and the chicken tacos because they're outstanding. Here, look at Ryan. Ryan is enjoying himself. Everybody who's watching online, thank you for watching. We're at Paloma Park, downtown on Washington. It's nice and cool out. We are in the shadows, like Batman. It looks like Seattle is handling the Blue Jays. This game, how many Auburn Georgias have you been to? You know, off the top of your head?
At least 5 or 6.
Well, what is that's quite a few. Why is this a big deal though at Georgia? Like socially, what? Because do you know a lot of kids that went to Auburn?
Honestly, no, not from my high school. I don't.
But you grew up in Atlanta, and you don't know any Auburn folks.
I mean, I do, but not like. A lot of them want to go to but they're still like. I would say Athens, Atlanta, and then like Atlanta, Auburn, like the same.
Like equidistant.
Yeah, and so I know people say that.
And that sounds insulting, but yeah. I mean, my cousin went to Auburn, and I can assure you she is brilliant. So I don't know about that part, but I don't think I would get into Georgia right now. I don't think I'd get into Auburn. So I'm good. Oh, the rivalry. Have you ever seen Georgia lose to Auburn? When? You were little. Yeah, that's the thing about this game right now is that it's missing a little bit of punch from Auburn, which I think everybody who's here right now would prefer it stay that way. It's not going to. I am in Athens. That would have been 2005. Oh. Now, again, I've talked about that game already. That was a bizarre game where Georgia lost on the last play of the game. Essentially, Auburn kicked a field goal. I said they scored a touchdown earlier. That was not correct. They kicked a field goal right at the end. Are dogs allowed in there too?
Yes.
Are cats? Would it be weird to bring a cat into a bar? You don't like cats? So there's something wrong with you. I love cats. Cats handle their business in a box. I don't have to. Do you have a dog? You do? Oh. No. No. We don't do puppies. I will tolerate a dog. No, I don't need anything. I have enough. I have enough as is. Let me tell you. We're eating these pretzels at Paloma. What now? There's quite a few. Oh, this thing. Yeah, there's 50-ish people. They're in and out. I think we're on YouTube. I think we're on YouTube. I don't know if we're on Facebook or not. I have no idea. Okay, well, so we're here. Come out. Now, I know it's a little bit early for the Atlanta crowd. Some of y'all are suffering through Spaghetti Junction right now, which is your decision. But Athens has been a little bit crowded too, but you always get this with Auburn. I would say you always get this with Tennessee to some degree. This event's being made possible by Peach State Light. I have had one. Ryan is drinking one. Some other folks are as well. It's very good, I have to say. Is that a brown thrasher? That would have to be a brown thrasher. That is a state bird. When I was younger, they had T-shirts that had a flying Ugga as the state bird. No lie, I'm not joking. It was an Ugga with wings on it. It was very hilarious. But this weekend is always very, very full. And first of all, it's a big game, right? You know, Auburn and Georgia have a lot of crossovers. I asked Kirby on Wednesday why it was such a big game, and he actually just said, "Hey, you know," he started talking about Vince Dooley, Pat Dye. There could be a whole book written about, you know, Dooley almost went over to Auburn in 1980. After 1980, excuse me, that did not work out. Pat Dye took the job from Wyoming, and then the Auburn Tigers kind of took off from there, became a very good program in the SEC, and in the 80s, Auburn was the real deal. Now that fell apart after the 92 season for Pat Dye, and Auburn had an undefeated season in 93, but they were on probation. They tied Georgia in 94 and then lost to Alabama. And then from that point forward, it took them another 10 years or so until Tuberville got it going. But this rivalry, we heard it with Larry earlier, this is one of those games that you can sort of say, hey, throw the records out. In the past, that's been the case. Lately, it doesn't matter what the records are, Georgia's going to win. You never want to go into a game thinking it's going to be that particular thing. But, you know, Georgia should win tomorrow. If they don't, there should be some, well, you would be shocked, but people will be furious. And there will be questions that I do not have the capability of answering if that happens. But, you know, I think the big thing tomorrow, Anna Ruth, is are they going to play well or not? Um, I am stunned with a 30-point line. I'll just tell you. I have a lot of respect for Auburn. I have friends that have gone there, professional folks that I've been around for a long time in the business that are all Auburn people. They're good people. Seeing Georgia as such a significant favorite is hard to fathom, but it's not like that for no reason. This is probably the only time that Georgia will be a 30-point favorite over the Auburn Tigers, but, you know, I don't know what to make of it. It's a lot. When you talk with your friends and talk about the game, you talk about, hey, Georgia should win no matter what? You don't know. Oh, wonderful. Well, are they casual fans or? Huh. Huh. Sure. Yeah. You're allowed to cheer for teams if you're in a sorority. I don't think that means you don't know anything, but it's a big weekend, and it's definitely a big weekend. Is he coming back over here? Because that's a segue that we can do. Ryan, I guess he can't hear me. We got one more time. Ryan Curley is not a star. He is just lubed up off of Peach State Light. He's had one too many. No, he's not. He's had one, which is not one too many. Come back on over here, Ryan. We're still offering the person that calls the dogs the best, judged by the crowd, not me, a free book. Are you going to call it? You're not going to call it. Okay. You're not calling the dogs. You're back. You're back. You're going to do it? Let's make this a competition. We have one person ready to call the dogs. Don't be bashful. When another person's ready to call the dogs, we're having a competition. It will be judged by the crowd. All right. Yes. Now, Anna Ruth and I have had quite a discussion here about the Brandon Council comments. Do you want to add anything before we move on? Bro has to chill out. Yeah. The Georgia internet likes to get mad about stuff.
Yeah, but listen, whether he believes it or not, you have to.
I am certain he believes it.
You have to get yourself hyped up for a big rivalry game like this. You just have to know the implications of your words and what you say. This is not 30 years ago when it would take time for people to hear that.
Even then.
I mean, instantly, that's how we it's and I blasted it out. So it's like.
I don't have anything else to add to it. I thought it was a mistake to say it. All right, let's move to this subject right here. The subject is, who would you rather have? And y'all can hand signal if you want. I guess open hand is going to be Brock. Closed hand is going to be Darnell. Who would you rather have, Brock or Darnell? Oh, this guy's got both. Well, so we have a red zone. Red zone's ready to go. His poor date or wife.
Well, she's talking. She wants you to talk to her.
Dude, that poor woman. God bless you over there. I know what that's like. Yes, good for him. So we're going. Y'all are saying Brock more than Darnell. I wonder what the internet.
Would you rather have Brock or Darnell in the NFL?
I would rather have Darnell.
In the NFL, I think I would rather have Darnell. I think both of them will have good NFL careers. This was college like Brock. I told you earlier. I said it. Brock. I think Brock Bowers is the best player in college football. So taking the NFL in the equation, Darnell means a lot to this team. Last week, Darnell meant a lot to the team. Halftime, he stepped up. He told the guys, "Get behind me." He
He
was
did.
locked in. He heard Chris Jackson talked a little bit about that on Wednesday. We talked to Darnell on Wednesday as well. And he said going into the game, I just knew it was going to be important for him to play though and just step up. This is year 3 for him. He's got to work better and work better every year. He feels like he's in good shape to do this thing like LeBron James. He's out there. He's a more physical LeBron James playing football. Did you see the way that the guy bounced off of him? I mean, he laughed
Now,
at
let me
him.
say
When
something.
we asked him about it, he laughed at him.
Let me say
I mean,
something.
that's science there. That's what matters. That's science.
That was the loudest pop I've heard in some time.
Were you right?
Yeah, I was right there, and it was very loud. It was very loud.
It was sick.
And he is an exceptional player. I don't know how Darnell. The other thing too is, my man over here in Red Zone was saying, I want both, and the fact is they do have both.
Has there ever been a college turn into it better than that?
Well, Larry was up here earlier. Larry and Jermaine Wiggins and Randy McMichael were all on the same team. They did not all play necessarily at the same time. That's a really good. Larry played in the Super Bowl. I don't think I need to explain Randy McMichael to people. Jermaine Wiggins was with the Patriots forever. I believe he won the Super Bowl, although I'm not certain. But it's hard to argue. These guys are way better than Larry and them. They just are. And I've told Larry that. He doesn't care.
I love Larry.
He knows what time it is.
It's ridiculous that they have both of them. I think Todd Monken is an excellent offensive coordinator. I think Cincinnati's a really good quarterback. It baffles me that they don't get the ball. It actually does. I think that they should be at least looked at on those plays.
You got that right.
They are just so dominant. Darnell Washington's blocking, I think, went unnoticed until the last couple of weeks.
This guy, man, I'm telling you, he is way bigger than me. And I'm a pretty big person. He is way bigger than me.
He's way bigger than me.
It is insane. He told them in the locker room, get behind me. He didn't talk about throw me touchdowns. This guy has grown up. He has grown up. His length is insane. But this, again, now... No, but I played basketball against guys like Darnell, and it was not fun. No, it was not fun at all. I could play against Brock. I could not play against Brock. The speed is insane. Nothing's in front of him. Everyone is behind him. Everyone is behind him. I thought we'd figure out the hot mic, but I can't.
16-yard touchdown against South Carolina.
Stopped at midfield, basically, and then took off.
This isn't a possible question.
Well, he got it right. He said, I want both. I want to talk about the Heisman Trophy. And I want to give everybody their chance to boo players if they want, but whatever. All right, I've got the top 5 betting favorites right now for the Heisman Trophy.
I wrote down my top 5.
But this is not my top 5. This is the consensus. Okay, go ahead. No, we're gonna fight it out here.
Starting from the top or the bottom?
Unlike Drake, we're gonna start from the top and go back.
Drake was a child actor, so I don't know how that's the bottom.
I was not a child actor, but I aspire to be one day. Nickelodeon.
The Heisman Trophy would be C.J. Stroud.
Okay, correct. So C.J. Stroud, the Ohio State quarterback, has 1,400 yards, 8 yards rushing, 18 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. His best win is against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The second betting favorite is Caleb Williams, who was at Oklahoma. He is now at SC. 1,400 yards, 144 yards rushing, 12 touchdowns, and an interception. His best win, I gave it to Oregon State. Okay, let me just keep rolling here. Let me keep rolling. Alabama's quarterback Bryce Young, who is currently day-to-day, 1,200 yards, 154 yards rushing, 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I gave his best win as the Arkansas game. Okay. Well, I mean, Texas and Arkansas are both 3-2. So you think Texas is better than Oklahoma and then or Arkansas? Well, anyway, let's not get bogged down. Let's not get bogged down. Oh, right. That's what I'm trying to say. Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker is the fourth betting favorite at 1,200 yards passing, 175 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions on the season. His best win, I gave it to Florida because Pitt kind of sucks at this stage. Stetson Bennett, who is the quarterback of the Georgia Bulldogs, he is the top 5 in odds. He is number 5. He was higher. He has 1,500 yards, which is more than anybody else, passing, 42 yards rushing, which is kind of low for him, actually.
But he has the more rushing touchdowns.
I did not include that. 42 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns, which is the fewest of this group, and 1 interception. I gave his best win as Oregon, which I think is quite clearly the best win of everybody. Now, you tell me who is going to win the Heisman Trophy if it's handed out today. Yeah, I think it would be CJ. He was. That's correct. Correct.
So, Ramirez and he's like really good.
Yeah.
They've got weapons. They've got 2 really good running backs. They have CJ Stroud. He's 17 touchdown and reception ratio. He's got 2 games with 5 touchdowns. He's played really well.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. I would think that he gets at least 1 more passing touchdown a game. He is the favorite to be the first quarterback off the board in the NFL draft. He's accurate. He makes good decisions. He gets the ball out quick. I think he would give him the Heisman. They've blown through everyone other than Notre Dame so far. I think if it was handed out right now, it would be CJ Stroud. Probably would be in that few months.
You do not win the Heisman until November, and often you often do not win it until December, and that's the kind of challenge.
There's 2 running backs that come to mind over the last
I do
5,
not.
6 years.
Yeah, okay.
Had the Heisman quote-unquote won until November. St. Paul Darkness won for the winner for that was the clear Heisman until
So
the
Todd,
bad game against Alabama and basis was the same after that. That could happen for CJ Stroud.
my man over here is not wrong when he talks about Todd in 2014. But Todd got suspended right after that Vanderbilt game, which was a whole thing. And he certainly could have been one of the few running backs this century that's won the Heisman. It's just so hard anymore because you don't control the ball the whole time. Everybody watching online, this is made possible by our friends at Peach State Light. Yeah, I definitely would. I believe that is a brown thrasher, but I want to confirm with James Oglethorpe that is actually true. That is a state bird. I just don't know if that is the. Excuse me? Rest in peace, Atlanta Thrashers. Nobody's gonna pay attention to it, right? But the all right, now we're going to switch to one more thing. This is actually, I don't think there are any Auburn people here, but if there were, I think they would probably agree with this. We're going to I've got 5 coaches on the hot seat nationally. Numerical scores? Okay, numerical scores. We're gonna start with Brent Venables at Oklahoma.
2.5.
So he's not on the hot seat. Kirby Smart never got his ass blown out twice in a row.
I'm not saying that was Brett Venables did. I'm just saying it's been 5 games that Brett Venables did. You have to give him a one season before you can really say he's
No. Hot seat does not imply firing.
I'm saying 0, and these 2 games put him into that 2.5. That's what I mean.
David Shaw at Stanford. Yeah. It's getting up there for him. I mean, It's been a while since Andrew Luck has been their quarterback.
A couple of amazing players.
Yes. Yes.
He had three Heisman finalists. Christian McCaffrey, and Andrew Luck. And Bryce Love didn't get on any of those. The other two guys did. And outside of that, I mean, no, you get to a couple of years, 6 games. I can only think of one, actually.
What? Played in the Rose Bowl.
They played in the Rose Bowl. That's not what about the Luck was there?
He played in the Rose Bowl.
I haven't done that much. I'm not saying it's good, but it's an amazing job. It's something I'm going to expect from real experience, but we've been around a while, and then it starts to stall out, and it's like, well,
He's been around for 10 plus years. All right. As you go ahead, and you can hit your piece right real quick if you want. Do you need another one? Or are you good? Okay. Clint Ferentz at Iowa, who I think has fossils somewhere near Iowa City.
I don't think about it, but it's a whole lot. I mean, they've got a big touch. They've got, they're leading their division.
I feel like winning the Big Ten West is like winning the ACC. Like, kind of, okay. Here's your Cheez-It Bowl appearance. All right, we'll just move on. All right, now these two. Now it's going to get real fun. I think Brian Harsin clearly is more on the hot seat than Jimbo. Brian Harsin. What does 10 mean? Does 10 mean you? So 9.9. Yeah, I mean he would have to run the table. Actually, he cannot save this thing. He does not. He does not want to. My man says that they're 31 to nothing Georgia win, and bro is out the door on Sunday. Jimbo? Well, hold on. Let me riff just for a second on Harsin. He does not want to be at Auburn. It is clear. Okay. I'll give some inside baseball here. We were at the Georgia Auburn game a year ago, wrapping things up. And this guy waited an hour and a half, I think it was, for his press conference. An hour and a half! Like the whole place had cleared out. What are we doing? What are we doing? Yes! Well, I mean, it takes us a long time. Well, I didn't have to do it, but like, I was like, what? Why are you taking so long? Everybody over there is aggravated. If he were to rescue it against Georgia, Texas A&M, Alabama, he would check out. He will be the coach at Arizona State. He will be gone. It's not a fit. It didn't look like a fit from the start. It did look like Jimbo was a fit.
It did.
It's looking less like a fit.
You and I are not surprised by that.
No.
I did not think they would have been here this year.
No.
I thought they really understood what they needed for it. A freshman class is not going to allow you to be a national power.
Nope.
And only two of these guys are making a true impact at the moment. Loss on a Stewart and Hamilton are only two that are out there alive.
No one knows these people. They don't care. Go for it. They're really good. I cannot eat them while I'm here though. Again, where are we? We're smashing. We're smashing those pretzels. Could not be better. I think Jimbo is about a 7 and a little bit.
I said 7.5.
Oh, okay, because go for it. We're at the point with Jimbo where it's a little bit, do it or get off the toilet. Because, he's been there for coming on 5 full years. He left Florida State in a debacle. And I think you have to say, when it's not working, it's not working. And it's quite clearly not working at Texas A&M.
Look ahead a couple of years from now. Texas is not enough to join the conference.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for Texas.
Like that. Everybody's. I can't like zoom in. This is we're getting there. Well, I mean, we only have two arms. Anyway, go ahead.
If you look ahead to 2 years from now, Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC, how does that help
It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. You are no. You are no longer a specialty item when you have. No, they did not. They were very vocal about it. They were very vocal about it.
I keep seeing online, like, you gotta get out of there because it's not working. They're going back to the stage because that Max Johnson's out this week. So Nate's Gate is going to start. And he's perfect. He was like a low 5-star guy, high 4-star guy.
The stars just, they don't matter for quarterbacks. And quarterbacks, it just doesn't matter.
From A&M, a lot of talent. Supposedly it can stop and not getting it done. And I just didn't understand. This weekend was a perfect example of this is sad for. I mean, I'm not harping on CBS, but this is bad for CBS. The primetime game was Alabama A&M. That was decided before the season. That was why Georgia was a 3:30 kick. And also would have been really nice.
Well, maybe I would suggest this. I would suggest this to our friends at CBS. You would have better, selections if you would pay more money to get more games. They messed that up. That's their fault. Right. They had to. But you can't do anything about that. I mean, Georgia, Florida was a terrible game in 2010. Terrible teams. They booked it. They know it. It's just what it is. Okay, making sure everybody who's watching knows we're at Paloma Park. Downtown in Athens is an outstanding. They've got Mortimer and I can't remember the guy from the Muppets. They've got Mortimer and what's his name, the two old guys from the Muppets up here yapping away. Soon they will have a couple of bands entertaining everyone. I am not saying this because we're here. The food is quite good. The chicken tacos are outstanding. And my man has gotten another Peach State Light because he's a little bit parched, so he's going to go for it. Now then, this is perhaps a more interesting discussion. The top 5 jobs in college football. And by the way, before we get started with this, make sure that you know that if you want to get a book, they're up here. They're great Christmas gifts. Everyone can afford them. I don't know who that is. Oh, mom is. Well, I mean, you can, but they don't want to hear you talk to your mom. Well, my mom doesn't do that, but she's not above it, though. I'll tell you that right now. All right. Or sound on this.
No problem. It should be better now. Text me if it's not.
Let's do this. The top 5 jobs in college football. I've got some not great jobs.
Yeah, I ranked them 1 to 10, and I actually had a really hard time doing it. Backwards? I've got Oklahoma as 10. I've got Oklahoma as 10.
Oklahoma's not even on my list. I don't think.
I think it's a good job.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I had a really hard time with this. And this is up for discretion. I had Oregon at 9. I think that's a really good job.
Okay.
What do you want? I mean, why are you looking at me?
I'm not hating. I said top 5 jobs. We're going 10 backwards, so there's a lot of points.
Well, I'm competing, man. Oh. 8, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's a tricky job.
It's a good one, though. I had Florida at 7. LSU at 6. You have them higher, don't you? Do you have them as 1? Texas is 5. Ohio State's 4.
Ohio State is 4.
USC's 3.
SC.
Georgia, and then Bama.
So you think
Bama
Alabama,
being 1.
you think Alabama jobs better?
He's created the best job over the last 10 years. If it wasn't the best before that, replacing him will be interesting.
I think it can be a bit cyclical. I think the best job in the country is LSU. And there's a couple of reasons. You're in the reasons. They have the talent, they have the talent, they have the talent. And those three things combined between Houston and the border of Mississippi, per capita, there's probably a lot more high-level players than Missouri's period. And
Right now,
no, period. I mean, LSU has they are
we are talking about a program that won a national championship just 3 years ago.
three different coaches have won a national championship, which is my favorite. Les Miles and
And Joe Burrow.
And
Kind of.
Gene Chizik.
Yes. There's been people that have won. Jimbo Fisher has won a national championship. I mean, it happens, and he's got a ring, and that's what it is.
It's amazing. I think it's LSU number 1. I think Georgia is the number 2 job. I think Georgia is the number 1 job.
No, they are heading that direction.
This is about the infrastructure that's already in place. Okay? That's to me.
I'm trying to figure that out.
The infrastructure that's in place now in Georgia is much better and further along as I don't know, 6 years ago. So, Georgia wants to win in a different way. I would be very curious on how it goes in my life in the future in basketball for Georgia because Georgia should get something in basketball.
I said that to people the other day, and their eyes they looked at me like I was an idiot.
I think
It's like, it should be.
the challenge in Alabama is I'm only and I remember how from the time the beer died until 2014, this is 2005, 6 years they were just kind of flailing about these sacraments. I mean, it was, we run there on a coast there's one question John. All of these schools have issues. Right? Like LSU, I just said how dysfunctional.
And you called them the number 1 job. So
And
I
I
mean,
think LSU's the number 1 job, but Georgia does not really just not LSU dysfunction. I mean, we're talking about, Title IX investigations and like firing basketball coaches and all this stuff. I mean, it was a disaster. And still, all that time, LSU in the 90s was but Texas in terms of money is irrelevant. I don't want everyone has money. Georgia has a $180 million budget. Okay?
And they
Texas
matter.
has a $190 million budget. I mean, that's not even 5%. That's not a big deal. Texas A&M doesn't matter because they don't win football games. Don't let us overdo it for the hot
yeah, it's 0.
I can't get to a rant.
There's like a,
I can't turn.
you have to physically rant. They want to see the traffic rant?
Consistently not wanting I don't want to hear about NIL as a center. I don't want to hear about money. I want to see them posting trophies in pleasures from the
Well, it's the same thing with Texas. They're not doing it.
So if it's not happening, it ain't a great job. Money does not equate success.
No, money helps with the opportunity for it, and people care about that too much. You gotta win games.
If it were only about money, then Oklahoma State would be LTV Pickens would have been through the roof, and they could have even been, up and down. You have to have a commitment. Commitment is fun. Commitment is fun. Commitment to actually do win. Kentucky has become committed in football. Now,
They're a better program than they were. Yeah. I'm not. They would win in a football game for sure.
Take away the Orange Bowl and the Vegas. Take away that Orange Bowl.
Okay.
Now, I'm not here to keep on Texas A&M. I'm not. I'm just asking. Who's a better program? Who's a better program? Who has more top tens in the last 10 years? Who has a better program? Just athletic department. I mean, I don't argue with Kentucky.
Well, they have basketball big time over them.
Kentucky is overperforming. Is second. Is not
Texas A&M is underperforming what their expectations were. Not my expectations, but the general public's expectations.
No one's sitting around. Texas A&M has the football tradition of Mississippi, and everybody is convinced they're going to take off. I'm not. I got to see it. It ain't there right now. And it doesn't. You don't just have to have an institutional commitment to win. You have to. If you don't,
Are we the only ones? Are there other people? Are there other people that thought about Texas A&M the way that you and I did before the season? Who thought Texas A&M was going to be really, really good this year? Were they going to compete for the SEC championship? I just didn't think so. Exactly. But the media or whoever, I don't know who. You did this. You wrote these numbers down, and you somehow found a way to crap on Texas A&M. And I don't think Clemson's a top 15 job. It's a better job than Clemson. What was Clemson before the last 10 years? What was Clemson before the last 10 years? That's my point.
It's not right. To Clemson's credit, and then it takes an action to go to Clemson and chill out for a while. As way more about Clemson's fault, that they have said, we're going to try. We got the right fit for us. If that was what he came here, it would not. It would not work at Georgia, it would not work at Florida, it would not work at Alabama, it would not work at Texas. You know why? Because those schools should be good. You can't be pissed off if you're Georgia. You should be. That's why their fans are mad about a 4-point loss. And if there's not carnage on the field Saturday, people are going to be mad. That's what this is here. There are certain expectations. Now, there's some backwards to that, too. You can't just say, I talk to Jarvis Johnson. Just have the sands and just read it. And, I love him. And he said, I said, why don't you go to Georgia at the start? He said, they tried this, we're Georgia. That doesn't work. You can't, you have to be criticized. And so, that you have that situation, that's your Georgia, Florida, LSU, or Alabama, or Texas. No one cares. You have to recruit these kids and make them feel special. And you have to take that and develop it into moments like this. If you don't have moments like this, you're not really doing it. All last summer, I kept saying, it's time. It's time.
You do. You said it a lot. You said it a lot. But it was. And it was. It was time. You could tell from last summer, that was when you could tell there was something wrong. When it comes to Georgia, that it was time. Yeah, you could tell starting last summer.
Well, I knew after the Vanderbilt game, and
It was Arkansas for me.
So you got out.
No, I was not credentialed to Vanderbilt. It was Arkansas.
I know Vanderbilt was not, but again, like I said, it's not anybody's like, they almost had more points than Vanderbilt had yards. It was 62 to like 87. And so, like, so that's why you're going to hey, just go over there and, like, Jack, you're good. You know, I don't know. What's I'm saying? I got to see it. It's about to happen. They don't let it start. And go beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa. There's no rule that says you have to lose to Alabama because you just lost to the city. And maybe you got to stop state.
Was the directional the directional schools?
The non-land grant school situation. There's nothing solid that they should go in and solve it. And Missouri was given a vote.
They were. It was. I was in the thick of that. I felt their hope. I was inside of it. I felt their hope, and I felt their disgust. I felt their heart broke. They were so mad. It was not. Some of them were really. I had a lot of things said to me, but they don't understand. It was funny. I mean, they really thought they were going to win in the second half, and I didn't think it at all. I mean, they at the end of the day, Georgia was just so much better. But yeah, no, they had their hearts ripped out there at the end of the game. They stayed. They were not leaving. No, but this was a little different because it was the number one team at home at night. Yes.
They were in a tight game in the fourth quarter, and then Jarvis Jones happened, and it was 42.
That was awesome.
So Jarvis was like, all right, you know, and he just, anyway, we're in the park. I'm watching it now.
Peach State Light. Grab Peach State Light if you're here.
And I've been told it's going to be a very good performance, and it certainly will be. I'm like, this, you know.
Huh. People showed up. Vincent showed up.
And I'm very appreciative. And I am still, we're in the next 15 minutes. If you want a free book, young lady, yes, you. Under the Crown Royal tent. You can call the dogs and get a free book. But you have to win the competition. You have to win the competition. And it will be fierce. It will be fierce. So it's a long way in from Watkinsville for this kind of treatment.
From Watkinsville. The east side.
So we're at one park. We're drinking Houston Light,
Here.
which we believe has a brown
I'll cheers myself. That's cool.
Well, I don't have any left. Also, you can contact James 706 461
There's a phone number. Yes. When are we doing this? What is this? This started when I was taking my break. So where are we at with this?
I don't know what you get paid for this too much. No? Too soon?
It's not enough.
Too soon? Hey, let's not put enough in. I know we got some pretty close here. Matt and Gary did a good job today. You can read between the lines if you want to. There's going to be some good news in the near future. Not this weekend necessarily, but in the very near future, there will be some optimistic movement in the 2024 class. So I think people will be excited about that in the future, very near future. I do want to say
Next, as soon as next week and all that.
As soon as 8 days-ish from now. I do want to just go real quick over the. This is a big game. College Tennessee. Are you a as well? is considering it. Okay, five-star corner, AJ Harris from Kansas City, Alabama, Columbus.
These are the commits. These are the commits.
Excuse me, I was just going to say, these are important guys. Here's Smalling from South Florida, Florida. Gabriel Harris, CJ Allen from Tyler, Lincoln Ford, wide receiver, Grimson, North Carolina, Paul Jarrett, Lamar Freeland, who is in Charleston. I've never Walter Lucky, who is a son and nephew of the Lucky Triplets. David Wilson from Venice, Florida. Making Falcons, Roger Robinson, from California. Jordan Hall from West Side Florida. Another three has a player here. 2024. Sammy Brown from Jefferson, which is a very interesting situation. We'll see if he winds up at
Clemson's in the mix there for sure.
Jaleel Solomon from Schley County. Zion Reagans.
I went and watched Zion Reagans a couple weeks ago. That's very, very small. I think he might be 5'5". Very, very fast. He had a really impressive one-hand grab. But other than that, wasn't really targeted. Very quick.
So there's a slew of guys from around the state. Again, let's go on the same a little bit. We're today are enjoying beach state life. They're coming to 16-ounce cans here at Corona Park in Athens. Everybody on we have a great summer audience on the we're going to have a competition to call the dogs in the next 10 minutes. But before that, I want to talk about why we're working on this game. I'm going to let Ryan Curry take it.
The simplest way to put it is that they're just a lot better than Auburn. They've got better stars. Auburn's got 3 stars, in my opinion. The 2 backs and Owen Papel. He's really good. Georgia's got more talent across the board. They have a much better coaching staff. This is at home. You can tell that this is a big deal, big rivalry game. The Auburn fans have given up. I mean, I talk to Auburn fans on a pretty regular basis. My Auburn buddy talks about how delusional they are. These are his words, not mine. He talks about how they've just given up, and it's not good. I don't know if these programs have been as far apart as they are right now in the last 20 years than they are in this moment. And Georgia, I tell you what, Carius Jackson used the word embarrassed to talk about the way they felt during the Missouri game. It's when they're too close to each other. Carius Jackson used the word embarrassed to describe how they felt during that Missouri game last week. They locked in and they got it done. This week against Auburn, I don't expect it to be a close game. I did not think they were going to cover at first when I saw that it was about 30 points. And I talked myself into it just because I have a hard time seeing Robbie Ashford come in here with the little experience that he has, with the never playing on the road. I'm not just hating. I will say people have told me they think he should be playing baseball. And I don't know about that. I'm not hating on Robbie Ashford, but the dude's third start and his first road start is against a top 3 team in college football, against a Kirby Smart team that I know had a very hard week of practice getting ready for this game. Kirby cares about the Auburn game. He went here. He cares about the rivalry games a lot. I think they're going to be fired up. They'll be a little healthier than they were a week ago, minus Jalen Carter. They're a little healthier than they were a week ago. A.D. Mitchell should be woven back into the mix tomorrow. They're a lot better across the board. I feel a big Brock Bowers game coming on. It feels like that. That's not crazy. Do you want my score prediction right now, or 38-6 is what I'm thinking right now. And when I wrote that down, I was like, oh, they're not covering. And then I looked, I was like, oh, that means they cover the spread. Tight cover, but they covered.
Missouri scored 6. South Carolina scored 6, 13,
What were we talking about? In the second half?
Last year.
Oh, last year South Carolina scored 13. It was 40-13, I believe.
It's hard to score on them. You also have the Kentucky game where they scored, I think, 20-ish, but that was one of the last thing. It's hard to score in San Stadium. What's hard is transition from one to the next. And people are having a hard time putting the Zoom in. But once they get this thing, now you're seeing a lot of people going at 6 o'clock. Like, it's really early.
They opened at 4.
It's really early for a football game.
Yeah.
Okay? This is a one short crowd.
It's a mixed up crowd, man, for sure. It's going to get rowdy. It's going to get rowdy. They're not rowdy for us, but we get it. Yeah, all 4 of them.
They all dozens of people have come and will listen to the
Dozens.
Dozens upon dozens.
He's stay right. We got a book over there. He's looking at one of the remote cams. That's the SEC championship. I like to take credit, half credit for that picture. I give you half credit, and I give myself half credit for that one.
All right, listen, we're at the point in the day where we're giving away a book. So the competition has begun. If you want a free book, you have to beat your competitors out. How do you beat them? We're at Paloma Park, downtown in Athens. We would not be out here without Peach State High. And right now, we're going to give away a book. This is an awesome book. This is not the type of book that you give away to your mother-in-law. This is one you're going to keep for yourself. The person that barks the best, whoever calls the dogs the best, is going to get this book. I will be happy to sign it for you. I would also be happy to not sign it for you. If you want me to stay away, that's fine as well. You will use the wireless microphone, which is hot. It's
real hot.
Very hot.
That was my fault. That one was my fault. I did that.
Sorry.
I take the blame for that one.
Whoever is ready, come on up to this modified stage. We're going to begin the competition. Now, Ryan, I don't want to hear you call the dogs.
I don't want it. I'm not going to.
My man right here is calling the dogs.
The crowd decides?
Oh, okay, let's see. This is going to be problematic.
They're going to have to come over. There is a vortex. Yeah. You can feel it when you go out.
Alright, we're going to come straight here, so we're not in the vortex. And
Yeah.
we're going to call, if you are completely eligible, no matter your age, to call the dogs.
There are no requirements.
You are completely eligible to call the dogs, no matter your sobriety, no matter your...
How drunk you are? Is that what you... Your sobriety, yeah.
So start the photo line here. I know my man right here is going to do it. Now you're going to give it to the guy.
He's going to...
Someone's got to win.
Who's first? You calling the dog? No, we're going to do the whole thing, man. You get the mic, too. You got to call. You got to do the whole thing. You got to do the whole thing. You got to do the whole thing, man. You got to start from the beginning. We're forgetting. What about who's that coming down the track? None of that. Oh, we're not doing the real thing? All right. You gotta start from who's that coming down the track. That's the whole point. That's calling the dogs. Start from the beginning, though, man. Yeah.
Someone's doing help with the book. We got little lady. Let's hear it for little lady right here. My man in the middle with the hat. My man who's enthusiastic right here. Who we got? Last one.
I'm videotaping. We gotta redo that.
Can't redo it.
They were all the same loudness level. They were all the same loud.
That's what I'm saying.
Nice guy, Dean. Well, I'm gonna start it from the beginning. No, I'm not. It's awesome. I love it.
Look, this is going to be the Auburn, Georgia. I talked about it for almost 3 hours now. When do you know Georgia's in trouble? How will you know that?
If it's another fourth quarter fight,
I think you know before that.
you would know before then, but that's when there would be real concern. Because if this is a fourth quarter battle again, then it's like, okay,
Oh, you're talking about for the season.
yes.
I'm talking about for the game.
I'm talking about for the season. I think an AirPod just died.
Go ahead. All right, Pods.
As well.
Yes.
If that happens again, then this team has a real turnover issue. They need
Auburn.
to take the ball away from Auburn, and they need to keep the ball. Last year, you saw them take the ball away from, I think, almost everyone, maybe everybody. At some point in time, I think they took the ball away from everybody. Was there a single game where they didn't cause a turnover other than the SEC championship? I would be surprised if you found the game.
I don't remember. I mean, Clemson had the turnover because it was the pick six.
That was pick six, the national
I don't
championship.
remember the
game, the pick six.
UAB game.
There's other games. They dominated the turnover battle last year. They need to win that against Auburn. They need to come out fast. That's my first thing. When they've come out fast this year, the way they came out fast against South Carolina and the way they came out fast against Oregon, they looked like there was no one that could come close to them.
Right.
Sanford, not as fast, but a dominant win, 33-0. You didn't see them come out fast against Kent State. You didn't see them, and by come out fast, I mean score touchdowns quickly in the first and second quarter.
The challenge, though, the challenge if you're Georgia is you can't score a touchdown every single time you go down.
You don't have to. And what happened against Oregon is not realistic.
Well, they did that against Carolina too.
Yes. Yeah.
And like you're just not gonna.
They are capable of that.
They're
We know
capable
that because
of
they
that.
did it twice.
I am capable of having wonderful days, but every day isn't wonderful, right? I mean,
This is wonderful.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your time. No. I think if they are not up by 10-ish by the second quarter, people will be jumpy. Now, the likelihood of them being up that is probably not insignificant. That's the thing about this team. They can score quick. They can get down. They don't play not necessarily big plays, but they can score quick. They can get down the field. They're precise. I do wonder how much it will matter that A.D. Mitchell is probably back tomorrow. A.D. Mitchell is.
Well, I don't think he's playing like a normal game.
Well,
I think he's
still.
getting woven back. I think it does matter. I think his
Yeah,
presence.
I think it
He
does.
is their best receiver. It's not super close, and he matters a lot. All off season, he was catered to be the #1 guy. Him and Stetson are buddies. You've seen it. I've seen it. If you ask him, he blushes about it.
Yeah.
All right. They are buddies. They are close. Dog walk. They are always side by side. After the games, they're talking to each other. He matters a lot.
He does.
He is on the receiving. He is on the receiving end of the most important catch in Georgia history. Yes, that is what it is.
Well, in Georgia history. I mean,
Yes.
no, that's still Lindsey Scott.
Maybe.
We can't. No.
Recent
What are we
Georgia
doing
Scott.
right now?
I wasn't alive.
I mean,
My Georgia
wait,
history.
but I mean, Pearl Harbor was extremely significant. I wasn't alive for that. Well, why are you talking about Lindsey Scott doesn't matter? Lindsey Scott.
I didn't say it doesn't
you
matter.
Said, you said okay.
Don't
You're
twist my
telling. No,
words,
hold on now.
dude.
You said that A.D. Mitchell's catch against Alabama, which is featured in the book. You're saying that A.D. Mitchell's catch is the most important catch in Georgia history. Yeah, I don't know about that.
I know, we've had this conversation before.
Well, we have?
We have.
I don't know if Georgia is...
Maybe not in a recorded fashion. We've had
Right.
the conversation.
I don't know if Georgia is where they're at today. They probably are. I don't know if Georgia's where they're at today without winning the national championship in 1980. And you don't get that without Lindsey Scott.
All right, let's
Now,
move on.
oh, we're going to move on. Okay, that's fine. All right,
Let's move on.
all right, we're moving on. I have bold. I was going to talk about best Georgia Auburn games in the history of the world. No,
We kind of already talked about that.
All right, what else do you have over there? You don't have. You don't.
I just got hit by something.
That's the ghost of Lindsey Scott popping you in the head for that crazy. I know. Lindsey Scott did not die for
I
this.
mean, we still got 38 minutes.
Yeah. No, you don't know what to talk about all this
No,
stuff?
we still have a couple things.
We have time to.
Why Georgia wins this game? You haven't said why. I gave my spell.
I just think in my now, and I want to see it. I'm not, I'm not one of these folks that believes in. I'm not a certainty.
Smaller on YouTube.
He is. He's slimming up.
What do you mean by smaller?
He's
What do you
slimming
mean
down.
by that?
He's slimming
What do you mean by
down.
that?
I'm just saying. Look,
He's
Like
slimming
shorter?
down.
yeah, like you're 22. Like
There is someone
I'm
right now
6'1".
saying that Ryan looks
Okay,
smaller
6'1" is pushing.
than
I'm 6'1"
in
and a
what now?
We can measure right now. I'm
you
6.
wear the best shirt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's my wardrobe.
How tall are you? You have been challenged. It's your hair. Your hair gives you a little Conan O'Brien, a little Conan O'Brien going on here. I think tomorrow. Hey, throw that back on. I think tomorrow, what will probably happen is that Georgia. It might not be, surgical, but I think that they will be more physical than they've been these last two games. And once you start doing that, it all kind of adds up. I think if they play a turnover-free game or their margin is 0, I think that's bad news for Auburn.
They will come in the spread face to face.
You would think. I mean, you would think. I think. Okay. Well, that's what usually happens in their nasty blowouts. They or they're just solid wins. No, they don't. Yeah, I mean, that game last year was in doubt, if you want to say that, in the third quarter. When Ladd had that long catch. Well, when Auburn did not score going into that half, that was really problematic last year. Yeah, which shows that you can't know what one week brings to the next. But I think tomorrow, it's hard to put into words sometimes how fast Georgia can play in Sanford in terms of scoring, how how dangerous they can be inside of Sanford, because it has become a very difficult place to play, and that. Well, I think Auburn's tough. I think Auburn's tougher to play at than Georgia. Now, I mean, Tuscaloosa. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So which game is it where I went on my rant about the student section?
The Kent State game. Well, I'll let you yell at the students. Go ahead.
You are a huge tournament now.
Yeah,
Right?
they matter a
Whether
lot.
you're one and you're playing Kent State or you're one and you're playing Auburn or you're playing you have a tight game and you're leaving in the first half or the middle of the day to go on. That's you are affecting the game. Even if it's in the slightest way, you have to stick around, you have to be loud because you see that same stadium when you're loud.
It matters.
Because timeouts,
It matters.
because forcing outs, because
It matters. It matters. It matters a lot. It matters a lot. But I mean, if you talk about, so sometimes I discount Sanford just because I'm traveling so much, being on the field for all the games. You know, it's really tough at Tennessee. It's really tough at at Death Valley. It's really tough at Alabama. Auburn is way more difficult than they should be. Kentucky can be surprisingly, Kentucky can be surprisingly challenging. The hardest place to play at? Oh, no, to win? So the question is if the question is if not Alabama, who will win the West? And I have a direct answer for that. LSU. So Mississippi State has played pretty well lately. Kentucky cannot. Kentucky cannot continue to give games away. Kentucky has not played well this season. I've watched enough of them to see and to know they've got to play crisper. They've got to value the ball more. Kentucky is not playing like a team that wants to get to Atlanta. Those people, I have some of my closest friends are Kentucky folks. They would go crazy to go back to the Outback Bowl. But the truth is that, you know, they should be challenging to get to the Sugar Bowl, and they gave that away with the performance at the end of the Ole Miss game. Ole Miss is perfectly good. They're not great. And but I think tomorrow, what I was going to say, I was talking about on the road. Tennessee is an extremely challenging place to play because of the acoustics. They have a roof. They have a roof. They have a roof. They point the. It shakes. It is very hard. It's very hard to play there. It's very hard to play in Death Valley and Baton Rouge. Those two places. South Carolina can be challenging. They're just not good at football right now, and so that makes it. And Auburn is always really tough to play at. So, I mean, Auburn only has 87,000 people, and when you compare them to Tennessee or Alabama, they are both. All three of those places are really tricky. At LSU is tricky. I think Clemson and South Carolina are similar in that they can both be. The crowd can get on top of you if you don't watch it. Kentucky at night is not fun. Starkville's manageable, but there's consistent noise there, a little bit like there is in Jacksonville. I do not know what it's like to see Georgia play in Gainesville, but Sanford, when sometimes I will try to scream to see how loud it is, and I know it's loud on the field. Well, you're just screaming because no one's around you, and you want to see how loud is it here. You cannot. Oh, I'm not going to scream into this microphone. No, I'll do it. We'll record it. We'll record it. There are civilized people out here, Ryan. They're not like us. There are civilized. There are. Well, what you do is, photographers are often this closer to one another.
Yeah.
And if you cannot, if you are screaming and the photographer cannot hear you next to you, that is an indication of how loud it is. It is like that at Sanford probably twice a year. And it's these types of games. That's why I think it's going to be. Yeah, that's why I think it will be really challenging for Auburn. I kind of, Georgia folks won't like this, but I kind of respect Auburn a little too much to say, oh, there's just no way. No, I don't participate in that. I know that they have guys, but they have played sloppy in a way that is not conducive to winning on the road in this league. Last week Georgia got their act together and the thing about it is, let's talk about this just for a second too. This is, as we've discussed a million times, this is a different Georgia team than in the past. And Kirby, to his credit, is managing them in a way that is appropriate for their level of maturity. They are not a team from a year ago. They are a younger team where guys like Malachi Starks are stars, where guys like A.D. Mitchell, Pop, definitely guys who have not played a lot in big moments. Well, they played in big moments last week. And so now they know, hey, we have to respect the first quarter the same way we respect the third and fourth. And I wouldn't say he was happy after the game. Would you? Kirby. That guy, he about saved Missouri, man. That was amazing. I was waiting for them to block the kick. He's way too chill for me, man. I don't know. It's scaring me. I don't know why he's not screaming at people.
Being aggressive towards us, and they're going to be aggressive towards it's disappeared the last 2.5 years. I don't know what that means, but I do know
they have in the past.
Outside of hoisting the trophy, I have never seen Kirby happier and just in a good mood for no reason. Then the day after the SEC championship last year, when we had a call with him, he answered on his phone in the car, so he gets it. Yeah. He gets the whole party. And he's out recruiting, and he was just happy. He was happy to talk to people. He was saying thank you. He was in a good mood. That was a day after they got destroyed by Alabama.
Right.
So he's chill like that. I wouldn't say he's as happy as that, but he's chill. And it's
definitely chilled out. Money?
That's what people are trying.
About Kirby making more money? Listen, man, look, that guy, look, God bless him, he makes plenty of money and all that stuff. If he's motivated by money, I don't know. I mean, that doesn't, I don't know about that part, but I think he is motivated by trying to win as much as possible, period. And there's going to be at some stage a get-right game. If these guys are going to the playoff, there's going to be a get-right game. And, if Georgia really smashes Auburn, people who want to hate on the Dogs are going to say, well, Auburn's not good, and there's some truth to that. But at the same time, you got to get going again. Alabama has gotten going. I guess I'm going to say Clemson got going, although it was a week ago they were in a real fight with Wake Forest.
That was a primetime game against the Rams team.
It counts. No. Yes. They won that. They won that game convincingly. They won that game convincingly. Like, well, they were undefeated.
I'm not saying he's a good quarterback, above average college quarterback.
We cannot do this without our friends at Plum Park. Peach State Light has helped us out tremendously this week. Well, I do too. I would like to have one more, but we will do that after. We will do that after the fact. It is the unofficial beer of Georgia. James Oglethorpe did not sign off on it. I know. Well, you don't get Georgia without James Oglethorpe, right? Or we're prisoners. No, too soon. Too soon. No, that's not British history. It's our history. Oh, that one history podcast is quite good. It's not about Georgia though, ever. It's always about European rulers. But anyway, That's going to be a big fight tomorrow. If they come out with the right mindset and do all they have to do is do their particular job. No dropped field goal, no dropped punts, no dropped touchdowns in the end zone. You just go take care of business, and you will be fine. Now, what happens is the drives add up on people when Georgia's playing them. That's the hard part. They have scored on 6 consecutive drives, Ryan, that they've tried to score on. The last drive they took knees. They have scored on 6 consecutive drives. They scored on how many touchdowns? They're not big punters. It's Australians. But and the punter's been pretty good. I used to have a guitar a case literally just like that. I did play guitar. I had that literal case. Maybe that's widespread. I don't know. But I had that exact case. And I was not very good at it. But I did have that case. Well, I'm not a musician, thankfully. I get it. If I had to sing right now for $5, they're hardly paying me now, man. I mean, like, no, I would not get money for singing. I don't know, but do you sing the alma mater, or do you would not sing alma? Do you sing the Stars Spangled Banner? Are you busy during that? It depends, doesn't it? Sometimes I'm underneath the stadium. I am almost always underneath the stadium. Now that I think about it. Yeah. If you're too pitchy, or. Do you sing in the car by yourself? Very loud. Sometimes.
No, I'm not usually screaming on the show. I'm always doing
Yeah, we're recording video.
I'm talking about the dogs in the car all the time.
We do that quite a bit. Okay, so answer me a couple of questions. We're not going to go rapid fire, but we got a larger audience who is just now discovering dog posts. Amazingly. Yeah, you should. Do these Georgia Bulldogs get to the playoff?
Yes. Like not rapid fire, am I doing it next?
No, go. We'll just go. When we stop, we stop. Okay, these Georgia Bulldogs get to the playoffs. You say yes.
Yes.
Does a Georgia Bulldog get to New York City for the Heisman?
More like bold take?
No, I just want a bold take, yes or no.
Yes.
You think it's going to be Brock? You're not really going to say Brock Bowers.
This is my bold prediction. This is not my reasonable prediction. This is my bold
So bold means unreasonable. Okay.
My reasonable prediction is that has a very good chance of getting the
I think he does for sure.
I really do think Brock Bowers will get some. If they feed Brock Bowers, it happens. Because when he touches the ball, I mean, he's an active scorer. Every single time he has the ball in his hands, there's not many people in the country that he can say that.
No, there's not.
I do. Will Anderson was my one at the end of this year. After the South Carolina game, I flipped.
Well, he just took the Carolina game over.
He showed you that he can do anything that's asked of him. That's what he showed me in South Carolina. So
Okay.
my hope team is that he gets to New York. They have to feed him to do that.
Okay.
All right? Will they do that? I don't know. You would like them to feed them. If you're Georgia, it's the same thing. I think Darnell Washington should be involved. I mean, you know where your strengths are. And Stetson's going to throw it to the guy that's open to what he believes is his best read on play. And Stetson has somewhat control. It's not about control. Brock Bowers is the least of my worries in that equation. If he gets the ball enough, he'll play his way to the board because he is dynamic.
All right, here we go. Will Georgia lose in the regular season? Who will Georgia play in the SEC championship game? You have zero hesitation. Will Alabama lose in the regular season? What percent? Hold on. What percent chance is it that Georgia and Bama wind up at that game 24-0, making it a colossal? It would have to be 1 versus 2. It would have, hold on, making it the most significant SEC championship game since 2009, Alabama, Florida.
That was my preseason prediction.
You
My preseason prediction.
you do not see Alabama losing in the regular season.
I just think that both of them are far.
No, you don't think Mississippi State could beat Georgia on the road?
I think anybody could be any team.
You don't buy it.
I'm just not buying. Like when I look ahead, I'm not predicting an upset. Upsets kind of just happen. People don't typically predict upsets.
No, right.
So looking ahead at the schedule, I think Georgia's better than everyone on this schedule. I think Alabama's better than everyone on this schedule. I think that Georgia's wins is Tennessee at home.
Okay.
And them being at home
Makes it more challenging. Right.
I think this is
I don't think it really. The thing about it, I mean, Tennessee can just score and score and score and score. Georgia. But the balls. So the problem for Tennessee is they could arrive in Athens with 3 losses. I don't necessarily think they will, but they could. They play LSU tomorrow. They still have Alabama, and the week before Georgia, they play Kentucky. Now, I do not think they'll lose to Kentucky. Not anymore. Kentucky, my Kentucky card is gone. Okay. I think Georgia and Bama both better watch it with Mississippi State. That's a tricky game. Now, I'm not saying they're going to lose. I'm not saying they're going to lose. I'm saying you better watch it.
That could be a really weird game to start.
What percent chance does Florida have of beating the Georgia Bulldogs? 35. Someone say 35? I will shotgun a beer right now if it's 35%. No, there's no way it's that high. No shot. They did beat Utah. Which is like winning the ACC Coastal. Right? No, I think Florida's chance is somewhere around 15 to 18%. 35, bro. I love the shirt. I don't know. And this, if I shotgun a beer, it would be PC. Like, can you shotgun these type beers with the? Try it. No, Ryan would have to do that. So what percent chance do you give them of losing the games? Okay, 25%. I don't. Okay, so you're worried about the Tennessee game is tricky because you're coming right back.
Two of the 3 I'm not as worried about Kentucky watching the way that they play.
They just don't respect the football. Not that Georgia has lately, but I mean,
not because I think Mississippi State is anywhere near as talented as Georgia, just because I think that could be a really
weird. That could be it. All right. Anna Ruth's saying goodbye.
I'm leaving. Bye, everyone.
Everybody don't leave. All right. I don't know, Ryan. 15, 20. Okay, so what? Okay, let's just get down to brass tacks here. All right, Georgia's going to play Alabama in Atlanta. What percent chance does Georgia have of winning that game?
As it stands right now, 50%.
Okay. All right. So who will Georgia play in the first playoff game? So they lose the SEC championship game.
No, I was.
Well, someone's got to lose.
Look, I'm sticking with my guns, my preseason prediction.
Yeah.
I think that
Fill me
I
in.
never made this cut. I thought that they were going to be 13-0.
Georgia.
I still think they're I think they're better Alabama this time. I'm not saying they're going to win the national championship. In fact, if you ask me today, I think they lose the national championship.
Right. To Ohio State.
Yeah. So Georgia will play either Clemson or USC. I think those are one of the 2 teams on Sunday.
Man, I think Georgia would have what they want against USC. I mean, I like the way SC has played lately. If they played SC.
If they're 13-0 heading into play, then we play.
Oh yes, if they were undefeated, for sure. Yeah.
That's not going to be fun for a USC.
No, no. What would not? Well, Clemson would have people there. Oh man, my Christmas would be amazing if they played Clemson. I mean, the in-law angst would be like at full blast. Me? Oh man, I get in-law angst no matter what. I mean, just that they're playing the Taters makes it just adds more, you know, just more fuel to the fire for them.
Heading into the year, I thought that they would kind of blow through the 13. I still think that they would beat Alabama. I think it would be really
Well, before this past week,
before this stuff, it's
you're allowed to change. You're allowed to change. You know.
If Georgia struggles tomorrow,
Yeah.
if Georgia struggles
No,
tomorrow,
it's go time. They've got to get rolling.
I know what I
Again.
saw against Oregon. I know what I saw against Stanford. I know what I saw against South Carolina. That is what they are. They just have to do it. And they have to do it when it matters.
Well, number one, it's don't turn the ball over 5 times in 2 games.
I got a question. Do you think that if the game is a shootout against Alabama or Ohio State, does Georgia win that game?
Probably not against Ohio
Probably
State.
not against them. And that's my opinion.
Um,
Like right now, if you ask me, I think Georgia loses to Ohio State national championship, but I think
listen. Ohio State and Alabama really should be the teams that play for the national championship, but they have given me pause with the way that none of the 3 top teams, who I think are clearly the 3 top, none of the 3 top teams have had perfect seasons. And so for those of us who like to nitpick, there are things. I watch way too much college football. It legitimately is my job. It's how I make a living, and I think it's important to know what you're talking about. So I consume a fair amount of it. A week ago against Arkansas, I understand there's a lot of delusional fans. Alabama has their fair share. They're vocal, and they did not play well for periods of time against Arkansas. With Bryce Young, they played better, but there was a moment where that game was far too tight. And you could say the same exact thing against Georgia, for the Georgia game last week, except, Georgia was worse in a way. They did not lose their starting quarterback. Now, the thing about Georgia is the Kent State game, for me, I don't know. I'm not too hyped up about that. They scored every time they had the ball that they didn't turn it over. I mean, they scored. It was just not. No. I think that's right. That's the thing that's so tricky here.
We saw 2 extremes in the Missouri game.
Can you have these moments? Can you have the moments? Well, you typically got to make huge plays, big moments. People forget, Georgia had to drive the field to win the game against Alabama. After Stetson made what felt like a colossal mistake, I saw the way David Pollock was on the sideline. I saw Ben Watson. They were crushed. This was before that moment. Those guys were crushed. They thought that Georgia had won it, and they just knew, because they have Larry Munson pumping through their bloodstream, that Georgia had lost it all. And then Stetson came back, flinging it down the field, 7 passes in a row. And that's what gave people so much. Georgia went out and won that game, and you have to have those moments. Again, we're at Paloma Park, downtown in Athens on Washington Road. I've seen quite a few people checking them out. There's a pick. My man over here on my left, the second most important catch. That is the only frame on that roll that did not back focus on me. I was very fortunate to get that image. I did not think AD caught it. That's your image right there. I did not think AD caught it. And when I talked to AD in the summer, he told me, "Oh no, I was certain that I caught it." But it did not look like it. All I could hear were the Redcoats screaming. And, I knew I'd missed it a little bit on the shot. But when he was rolling, I thought he did not have possession of the ball. But as it turns out, he did.
So for me, I found that actually the
Yeah, 600. Yeah.
I could tell what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
I knew Brock Bowers had 2 feet down on the side of the
Oh, I did not. I was right there.
Because I had like a perfect
I did not know that. Yeah, I
So I
couldn't
knew
see
that was
it.
a touchdown. The Keely Ringo shot I had. I'm just so happy I got
Yeah,
that.
what were you thinking when Keely was running down the sideline? You know, all I knew was I was like, why is Ben Watson jumping in front of me? You know? Oh, yeah, you were an emotional moment. Yeah. You were not the only one. You know, I think a lot of people. I don't remember that. Yeah, I was kind of blacked out at that moment. It was such a blur, but I guess what I'm trying to say is everybody remembers the Keely moment, which is going to go down in history. It's a great moment in college football history. It is. It all added up. When you look at that fourth quarter of Georgia, they Stetson came out, you know, and threw them to a victory, and that was just to get them up 18-17 or 7. What was it? 19-18, and then the Bowers play. Now they ran it down Alabama's throat, that one, but it was that they were doing both. These guys were here at Paloma, and they've gotten this, Ryan. This what is it called? So that's when you're ready to really go. That's when you're really ready to compete right there. That's when it's time. No, that's when it's time to party. You're not quite. That's like a 4-foot beer or drink.
I don't think you're coming here just to, that's for multiple people.
No, but like it's going. Are they drinking it right now?
You've really seen that for the
I've seen it. No, I mean like I've seen this. I mean they are drinking that. It's good. They're really going. Oh,
pouring into the cups. They're not down there.
it's not quite time for that. Not yet. It's not. They've got the band is about to get rolling. Not yet, but they will shortly. We like your drink. Yeah, good. You missed they missed the call the dogs thing earlier. So let's look at this image. Look at like poor Dan Jackson is about to get destroyed.
Yeah, he's about what 5 to 10 seconds.
This is Dan Jackson. Poor Dan Jackson. Dan Jackson made the cover. Dude, he got lit up. He got lit up. This is why I stopped playing football right here. This is why I stopped playing football. 15, I don't know. That was it for me. He got destroyed. But I bet that was the best feeling Dan Jackson ever had in his entire life, was getting leveled. And there's a picture in here, too. No, he didn't. No, he didn't feel it. But Keely told me that he said they did not go to sleep that night. I don't think.
I did not.
We didn't. Yeah, I know. We had to work. I had to work.
I slept through the press conference the next morning.
Oh,
You come into the
press
hotel
conference.
and you're like, all right, we're leaving.
We had to get home. It was 9:30. Yeah.
And you were like, hey, we're leaving. And I was like,
So you think Georgia destroys Auburn tomorrow? You think they're coming alive?
the 6 is what I've got right now.
Auburn is.
Well, and so when I wrote that down, I was like, oh, they got to come on. Wait a second. That's what they're
That's a significant. I mean, that's not nothing.
Do you think Auburn comes in here and racks on double-digit points?
So I will do the same thing that I did at South Carolina. I'm just going to go hard in the paint, man. I don't think it's out of the question that Georgia's defense outscores them tomorrow because you've got a freshman quarterback. You better. And the other thing that Kirby said the other day that I think is important, he asked out loud, "Are we asking? Is my coaching staff asking Stetson to do too much?" You know, and if that's if that's something that's something that so I think so far the answer is not necessarily it's not. I mean, Stetson's handled it fine, but I think the question you have to always ask yourself, is Auburn is the young man coming in tomorrow and making his third start, and he's going to Sanford Stadium, and he can run around like crazy. He's going to try to do too much, and you've got a bunch of ball hawks, Pop, Keely, Starks, really more than anybody, Starks. Christopher Smith is definitely dangerous. Can the defense score more than Auburn? Now, see, I'm getting a little silly, but I don't think it's out of the question. Well, but the thing about it is Auburn's really not scoring the way that you'd like to if you're them. You know, they're just not, and that's the part to me that I would be worried about if I were Auburn. Me, I think Georgia's going to score 40 points. Yeah. Just take it. If you take a step back and you take the helmets, take the logos off the helmets. That's what Christopher Smith will do to you. That was not the only big play he made, by the way. If you take a step back and you take the stickers off the helmet, it's just hard to say, oh yeah, this team is going to really compete with that team. I don't know.
They're just too far apart. They're too far apart. They being in San Francisco does not help at all.
No, that's really trouble.
I think this would be the best environment to date in 2022 for Georgia.
Well, the Tennessee game is going to be live.
I think it is going to be live, but I think it's going to be live tomorrow. They're going to show up. I think they cover the first round. My book prediction is, I don't know if this is Auburn's not going to score a touchdown.
Oh, I don't just. I mean, we'll see. But the first drive of the game, if you're not scoring in the first or second drive against Georgia, you're in trouble.
But Georgia also needs to be. Georgia needs a touchdown in the first two games. That's something they haven't done since South Carolina. They need to do that tomorrow to show people, to show themselves that they can start fast. Because when they start fast this year, that's when they just looked like they're unstoppable. Is when they start fast. Oregon, they started fast. The first shot, methodical, and then quickly methodical. Instead of against South Carolina, they just pushed it down their fence. Stanford, they swallowed them on defense. They need to, Kent State, yes, they put up 37, but it was
sporadic.
A couple of field goals,
Sporadic.
Yeah. Missouri, they need to put that. They need to start fast tomorrow if you want people to not face that.
We cannot thank Peach State like enough. We cannot thank our friends at Paloma Park enough. This crowd has grown dramatically. Everyone's here to see us. I know. There are dozens of people here. Dozens. No, seriously, we do appreciate everybody. We're going to give way to the band. Thank you, everybody who's watching. I don't know how many people has been online, but it's been quite a bit. Thank you. We'll see you after the game and riding home.